It's December 2nd, 2024. I am Natural Pearl, and it's time to get in the weeds. Happy Monday to everybody. It's a brand new month, so here we are. It's the right place, I promise. The top of every month on the first Monday of that month, Jeremy Lambert and I are here on the main Fightful channel to present In the Weeds. What are we? We're a morning show. We're absolute nonsense. We talk about wrestling allegedly. We then talk about lives allegedly, and we also sometimes interview guests allegedly. But you're here and we're here, so that's all that matters. And Jeremy Lambert's here. And how are you doing?
I'm well, Joel. How are you?
I'm here. It's a start. It's sunny. It hasn't been sunny in Toronto in about a week, so this is nice. I might even go outside afterwards. I've already been outside. I might go outside again. Can't touch grass because the grass is all dead.
That's unfortunate.
It's wintertime. What do you expect? I live in Canada. We don't have much snow, but we have frost. You know what frost feels like? Garbage.
I'd like to address this. But the Players Tribune just said he can't wrestle anymore. Where was that portion at? I've read through it. I can't say. As Joel knows, I was looking through it before we went on air. He does say, which is ironic, I guess, since I broke my neck and can't wrestle, but I'm at peace. And if that's truly a wrap on my in-ring career. The way I read that is like he hasn't been able to wrestle because he was talking about his future and addressing like kind of his past, saying he hasn't been able to wrestle. Not that like he can't wrestle anymore, but maybe I'm misreading that.
This is what's fun about our show. I think we bring a dynamic that people don't necessarily get. Jeremy, for those who don't know, writes a lot of the articles you'll see on Fightful.com, and he listens to and reads a lot of what's going on in the wrestling world. So his input is invaluable, in my opinion. That's me, though. I said something nice, Jeremy.
Yeah, I'm trying to, just make heads or tails of the Big E article and making sure I got this correctly when I do an article, because I'm probably not gonna headline Big E says he can't wrestle anymore, because I don't feel that's what we're getting out of this. I mean that's not how I'm reading this, I should say. But maybe I'm wrong. There's not like there's not a definitive I can't wrestle anymore. And look, this plays into what we're going to talk about today, because the New Day 10-year anniversary celebration is tonight. Kofi and Woods are going to be part of it. Big E's not advertised for it, but I would imagine we will see him. I guess we'll find out in less than 12 hours.
During the Survivor Series post show, Wade Barrett did mention the New Day reunion to Big E, and Big E, they made it very well known that the air was sucked out of the room, that nothing was positive anymore, and Big E was kind of like beside himself, not knowing how to feel about it. It really, to me, made it feel like we will see him tonight as part of this reunion. It would make very little sense to not have him show up for something. He's got to do something. Have the two guys come out, have Kofi and Woods come out, stand at the other ends of the ring, whoever's hosting it, say something. It's Michael Cole, let's say. And then as they're not talking, have Big E come out and try to do the raw, let's get back together. And then, I don't know. I really think this ends with the New Day becoming heels altogether, because I don't feel a split's coming. I just feel like they're going to be bad guys.
I don't think they can be bad guys if Big E announces he's back, though. Because that's not getting booed. You can't boo that.
Just kick him in the dick and then walk away.
Kick who? Michael Cole?
Oh, that's a babyface move. What are you talking about?
Well, you said Michael Cole was going to host this thing.
That's true. I did. I don't know.
Michael Cole's on SmackDown, by the way, so I don't know why he'd be hosting this thing on
Michael
Raw.
Cole is wherever you want him to be. Although Wade Barrett does co-host on Raw, so you could have him do the thing, because he did bring it up on this post show, like I mentioned earlier. So we'll see. I mean, we'll talk about Monday Night Raw and all the other stuff. But first, I should probably let you guys know to leave a thumbs up on the video if you haven't already. If you haven't, what's wrong with you? Come on, we're 5 minutes in. Come on, thumbs up. Do it. Do the thing. Where's the fireworks coming? We got the fireworks today. This is usually a big thing. We got the pyro budget for it. But fireworks and fireworks. Cue fireworks and pyro. You got a smile, maybe? You want to smile a little bit?
Oh.
No. Can you smile? Nope. Okay. Wow. Main channel doesn't have the.
There he goes. Had to shrug.
That's what did it. They're over us today too. And of course, you can also subscribe to the channel here on Fightful. And if you want to donate to us, you can go ahead, leave a super chat, and email, get your question or statement read on the air. And we always appreciate that. So go ahead, hit us up there. Yeah, this was a fairly busy Friday and Saturday. Sunday was pretty quiet, right? Was there much to cover on the Sunday? I was pretty much catching up on AEW, but how was your weekend overall, Jeremy?
I went to see Moana 2 on Sunday. That's basically how I spent my Sunday.
Couldn't even escape the wrestling on a Sunday, huh?
Kinda. Like there's a wrestler who voices a character allegedly in the movie. But
did he sing?
He did sing. He did. Are we going to do the Moana 2 review right now? Is this what everybody's here for? Moana 2 review by Jeremy?
I mean, we can. Otherwise, we're just going to hop into Survivor Series talk. And, what do you want to do? You want to talk about the movie with The Rock, or do you want to talk about the show that didn't have The Rock? That by the end, people were like, where's The Rock?
Moana, the final boss. And here we go. This is how good. The final. God damn, that's good shit.
God damn.
Terra Moana, the final boss. And here we go.
Can we do that at 5, 6, 7 minutes in?
We just did. God damn, it's good shit.
Good shit. Well, this is something that we do on our other channel. By the way, Fightful Overbooked is the other channel where you'll find us Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 10 a.m. Eastern, until about noon, 12:30, depending how we feel. Let's talk about Moana 2. Well, I guess you're going to review it because I have not seen it. The last movie I saw in a movie theater, Super Mario Brothers.
I saw it in theaters as well. Yeah.
Very good movie.
I fell asleep during it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Big fake fan, Jeremy Lambert over here. Wow.
I fell asleep during the Mario Kart portion of it. Just passed out. I was tired. I did not fall asleep during Moana 2 though. So there you go. I thought it was good. I did not think it was as good as the first one. I'm probably going to have to watch it again. I imagine I'm going to watch this movie a million times with these children. But the songs were not as catchy as the first one. The first one, they stuck with you like after the first viewing. The one, I go away and then they go and find me because I see that whole thing, the shiny song. That's a good song right there. None of the songs stuck with me from Moana 2, outside of maybe the Chihu song, which is the Rock song, the one song that he did, his big solo. Obviously, You're Welcome from the first one. Everyone remembers that one as well. There's like 3 bangers in the first one. This one, not quite as many bangers. But overall, good movie.
How many Moanas would you give it out of Terramanas?
This is not Terramana. This is just water.
Everybody. Yeah, no, I can tell that.
Yeah.
Would you give it stars? Is that what we do? I don't think we
don't do stars. No.
Yeah, I don't think stars is a thing we do on this channel.
Those suck. Stars are dumb. I would give it, if Moana 1 is, I say it's a good 4.5 Moana hooks. Or Maui hooks. Sorry, not Moana hooks. Maui hooks. 4.5 Maui hooks. It's maybe 3 Maui hooks. It's still good. It's a nice little children's movie that adults can enjoy as well. But it's just not as good as the first one. That's all.
Is there like a those movie theaters that have the indoor play areas with the ball pits and the slides and stuff?
No.
You got one of those in your town? I don't know if we do in Toronto. I feel like it's inevitable, but I don't know. Just saying. It's one of those things. It's a kids movie. I feel like, would kids enjoy a movie more if they had the ball pit to play in while they didn't watch the movie? I don't know. There are parents in the chat. I'm sure they'll wise us up to whether or not it's actually a good thing to have in a movie theater.
That sounds terrible. Henry's saying, should I wait until it's on Disney Plus? Like, if you got kids and your kids want to go see it, go see it. I think movie tickets are outrageously way too expensive nowadays, and then you go account for concessions and everything. It's a pricey venture. So if you don't want to spend the money, I don't know if it's fully worth the money with all that. Look, if you can find a deal, we got theaters that have deals and everything, so you can like do like $5 a ticket. That's not too bad. Some tickets like $12. I wouldn't spend, even if it's a movie I enjoy. $12 a ticket is just way too much for me. So yeah, if it's where you can find a good deal on it, go for it. If not, you can probably wait till Disney Plus. Unless the kids really want to go, then you got to make the kids happy and everything. You know what I mean? And kids.
I'm curious because I'm looking at my local theaters. I hate this. I just want Cineplex ticket prices, because like they make you sign in if you want the ticket prices. How much are the stupid? No one's going to tell me how much tickets are for this stupid thing. 1 year ago, it's like $15 for regular tickets. That's absurd. I hate Cineplex. Cineplex is like the conglomeration that owns most of the theaters in Toronto, and they do D-Box and AVX and IMAX and 3D and all this extra stuff. And if you want to watch like a regular movie, there's like one cinema that actually just does the regular showing, and they still charge you too much. It's the worst. That being said, Moana is being shown in like every single venture you can think of. 4D, AVX, D-Box. You know what D-Box is? It rumbles. Your seat rumbles.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's VIP. I know you know what VIP would be.
No.
Get you a nice theater, get your drink service, comfortable chairs, recliners. It's great. It's expensive though. IMAX is IMAX. AVX is just a bigger screen.
I don't care to go to a theater that has all. It's too pricey.
Yeah, it is.
It's way too much money.
Listen, call me an old man in this case. I don't care. I'd rather pay, $5 to $7 to go watch a regular movie screen, like a regular movie at a regular theater. It's just not worth it, but this is what they do. And then they realize they price themselves so high that people don't want to go to movies anymore. So they're like, what else can we do? Oh, let's make a immersive experience of some sorts and then charge more. And then they're like, oh, what else can we do? Let's make the snacks more expensive, but then offer discounts through different credit cards you can get. It's absurd. I hate it. I'm tired. Yeah, the AMC theater selling beer and sliders, you could do that. I guess hypothetically the VIPs do that too, but it still costs $20 for a ticket. Just let me watch the movie in a theater. Turn the lights off. Let's go. Main channel Monday. That's what we're here for.
Nowadays, like everything's in streaming so quickly that it's not worth it to go to a theater to watch it, on the big screen. Like everything, I feel like everything's on a streaming service within a month. Where before, you had to wait like 6 months for it to come out on DVD and all this stuff. It's just, I don't like that anymore. So it feels like nowadays you can probably wait until it gets on a streaming service.
The anonymous ITW general manager did pipe up and said, you want to know what some BS ticket prices? The Taylor Swift era movie ticket prices were based on her birthday and favorite number. So the adult prices were $19.89 and the kids tickets were $13.13.
Yeah.
The kids prices makes it more absurd. Like $20 for a concert, see it like a concert theater experience. WWE, I think in 2000, I think it was $20 to go to the pay-per-view shows, like to go to WrestleMania and all that, and it was on the big screen and all. It's fine, but like $13.13 is garbage for the kids price.
It's a 3-hour thing. Like, at least getting your money's worth, I guess, considering it is 3 hours with everything. But those ticket prices will always stick with the wife because she was very upset about it. That did also win us a trivia contest because she was so upset about these prices that when this came to the trivia, when they talked about the ticket prices, she immediately had the answer. She's like, oh, I know the answer to these, because she's not happy about the ticket prices, which
that's amazing. There was a time when I worked for a was it non-profit? I think it was when I worked at my university as an RA. I was a Don, right? We went through all this stuff. When I was an RA, I was given a stack of Cineplex tickets, like free admission. And that lasted me throughout my entire university life. And I had a girlfriend, and we would just go to the theater every weekend and see a random ass movie, and it was the best. And I paid $0 for it. That's what I want back. My free movie tickets. No longer $5 and $7. I want free. That's what I want. I want a society where everything is free. Let's go. Will I see one movie in the theater until the? Okay, hold on. Xenowire was asking a question. Joel will see one movie in the theater in the new year. Over under. I will not. I can tell you that now. You may as well just don't even try to make the bet.
Okay.
Shall we talk about professional styles of professionalized wrestling?
I guess.
The Survivor Series. This is what we do. The Survivor Series was this past weekend. Vancouver, you came, you saw, you were loud enough. Except for the one time they put up the decibel meter. Felt like they were kind of trying to bury LA Knight with that thing. You remember this? LA's making his entrance and they show the decibel meter. How loud does the venue go? And usually it's for like the huge moments. John Cena's here. It's 120 decibels. The Rock has arrived. It's 128 decibels. LA Knight's here. 90 decibels.
Well, usually, LA Knight does get a big reaction. His reactions have maybe waned a little bit. Whether he meant it or not, I give Corey Graves credit for covering that LA Knight was not himself and he looked a little sour, which he should not dare to do. And he dropped the title figuratively and literally. And Corey Graves made it, played it off as, oh, Shinsuke's in his head. He just misted him last night on SmackDown. LA Knight's a little off here. So whether it was a character choice or LA Knight was not thrilled that he was losing the title, as we've seen in wrestling before, wrestlers don't always do the best job of hiding when they're losing, especially when they are losing a title, that he may have been a little sour there. But credit to Corey Graves.
Which again, dare not be. It's the Black Mist really made him sour. It made him negative.
Yeah.
Went from being LA Knight to New York Day. That was a joke that was very old.
Okay.
Remember LA Knight infers the idea that and New York Day is it anyway. Point is, we have a new US champion. Shinsuke Nakamura has regained it. I guess he has been the champion before, but he didn't win it from LA Knight the first time. This is a new look for Shinsuke. He's got his new attire. He's got his new presentation, new theme. Twice in one weekend, does he get a new theme? Good for him. Goes from Friday having a brand new entrance to Saturday is a whole new entrance again. I don't know. I enjoyed both, actually. I enjoyed both new themes. I like the one that they've settled on. It's a little bit different. Keeps the original motif of his original NXT theme, but he's a heel and he's a different presentation. He's working a much different style, which I very much enjoy. And yeah, this is the next stage of Nakamura. Listen, man, he's getting older. I don't think he's going to be main event player, forever and ever, but I think this is a great place for him right now. And LA Knight is always hot on the chase. So why not have a little fun? Drop the US title. Feel bad that LA Knight belt, like the literal belt that had his letters all over it, gone. Does that mean Shinsuke's going to get one now? Is that what we're going to do?
I mean, they get the side plates usually, so they get the side plates changed. No, it was a needed win for Nakamura because, like we talked about last week, is you can only do, hey, Nakamura is a different guy so much if he's just going to lose. So we could not really afford to lose here. So him winning is nice. We'll see if LA Knight gets a big chase or if he does something else in the meantime. And we'll see how Nakamura's title run goes. LA Knight's title run was fine. He had good matches with Andrade and Carmelo Hayes. Like the triple threat match was really good, but it didn't fully light the world on fire. I don't know if it's through much fault of his own, but he didn't have a whole lot to sink his teeth into with the title run, because it felt like there was more story with Andrade and Carmelo and their best of 7, and then the Santos Escobar stuff. Escobar they'd sometimes heat him up, but then quickly cool him down. And there was never really anything sustained with Escobar, which is a little unfortunate because I think Escobar has the tools to be a guy you can sustain a push with. And now Nakamura's here, and he's got a good character with this new dark persona, and we'll see what challengers they have lined up for him. Like they don't have a shortage of baby faces, but most of the baby faces are occupied with other things. So I don't know who. I assume they keep going with the LA Knight feud for a little bit. They do a rematch, but I don't know like who else is on the horizon after LA Knight on the SmackDown roster. Like who's that baby face that you can plug into face Nakamura?
Is it worth trying to turn Carmelo Hayes and make him a thing?
I wouldn't turn Carmelo Hayes. It's not that he's a bad baby face. I think he's a fine baby face. I think he's just now finding his footing as a heel, though. So turning him doesn't make any sense.
That's fair. Ken Bruno in the chat saying that Knight wins it back at Saturday night's main event. That's his guess. It's a good guess. Again, we'll see if LA Knight gets a rematch or if they just kind of brush it under, or maybe they'll do it as early as Friday and let it be known that LA Knight is still having some sort of confidence issues and can't win against Nakamura, and then we just shuffle him around for a bit. I don't know who else could make sense to go after Nakamura, because what other baby faces are there? There's no one else that really stands out on the SmackDown side of the roster.
People are saying, Pentagon. Big Man Dog's saying Pentagon. That was multiple people, but that's fine. And Pentagon, like, I don't know when Penta's coming in, if Penta's coming in as a solo. Like, that's a cool feud to start off with. But it feels like Penta's probably going to win that, and Penta's not. It seems too soon to take the title off of Shinsuke. He doesn't feel like a transitional guy. Maybe he is. Maybe he is a transitional guy. And they do go with someone else. But again, I don't, on the SmackDown babyface side, who is there that's not tied up in something a little bit bigger right now?
You can turn Andrade. If AJ Styles,
Andrade's kind of a babyface as is. I don't know if that's really a turn. He just kind of feels babyfacious. But Nakamura just beat Andrade, so
that's true. He did just beat Andrade. If AJ Styles is, not as injured as reported, again, this is the same conversation we had on Friday with the Jade Cargill stuff. Like we're at a point where like the injury reporting is sometimes a little vague. And if AJ is maybe ready to come back, he's someone that could do it. And then there's Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, but they're both they're both heels. We just haven't seen either of them, so we don't know where that stands.
You know who it should be?
Giovanni Vinci.
Legitimately, absolutely not.
Who?
Montez Ford.
Okay.
Montez Ford should be the guy. I know they're doing the Street Profits stuff right now, and they're tied into DIY and Motor City Machine Guns. That's why I'm not thinking of them immediately, because they're doing tag team stuff. Once that resolves itself, I know it looks like they might split or at least turn heel a little bit more, because Dawkins is kind of doing his own thing and showing frustration. Montez is showing frustration. So it looks like they might turn heel out of this. But I legitimately think you should make Montez Ford within the next 4 months as a singles guy. And by 4 months, I mean going into WrestleMania.
I've been banging the drum for Santos Escobar, like you had mentioned earlier. I've been doing that since his NXT days. I would love to see them finally turn him into a babyface, give him that big star mentality, and where people get behind him and cheer him, that I think he deserves. Someone in the chat had mentioned Jimmy Uso. There's another person, had a showing in the WarGames match. It was a main event match. He's someone who could go after Shinsuke, but there's got to be some sort of reasoning behind it. And the only thing I worry about is if Jimmy Uso, let's say, beats Nakamura, then Jacob Fatu is just going to turn around and win that title. And then we're just back to the titles are in the bloodline and the things get all convoluted until like they did with the tag championship. It didn't need to be that way, but they made it that way. I don't want to see more of the bloodline in the championship picture. I
thought about Jimmy Uso. Right now he's injured with the broken toe. don't know how long that'll sideline him. It doesn't feel like it'll sideline him too long. Jimmy's always been the lesser of the two Usos for the past year or so. I don't think that's far-fetched to say. Like, Jay has been presented as a top-level guy. Jay has won the Intercontinental title. Jay gets the big reaction. Jimmy's been off television, so that's through no fault of his own. But even before WrestleMania, this was my complaint going into the WrestleMania match, is Jay feels way up here and Jimmy feels down here. So that's why I wasn't as excited for the WrestleMania match, because I was like, these guys are on two different levels. And they had the match that they had, and it was what it was. But yeah, they've always felt on two different levels. Like, maybe you can uplift Jimmy off of this, but Jimmy just feels like a good utility player to Roman and not a breakout guy on his own. Maybe he does turn into a breakout guy on his own, but right now he feels more like a utility guy. Maybe you do call someone up from NXT. They're not lacking talent down there. They are lacking male, like, kind of top talent. I think that's evident by the fact that Ridge Holland is about to challenge for this title. But
stop it. Your Ridge Holland your Ridge Holland hate boner is a fantastic bit.
It's not like,
I'm just messing with
he's fine. I don't know why he's in the main event title picture. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. He's got a spot. I think there's a spot for Ridge Holland. But if Ridge Holland is in your spot, I also think that says something about the rest of your male roster, that Ridge Holland is the guy you're counting on. Like, name me a top babyface that could step up and take the title from Nakamura on SmackDown. You can't say Trick, because Trick's the NXT champion. Do you want to make Javon Evans? Does Javon Evans get a quick call up and, like, all right, we're going to go ahead and put this US title on him? I love Javon Evans. Is he there yet? I don't know. Oba Femi's an obvious choice, but Oba was a heel in NXT. He was a heel. I think you just call him up and make him babyface. I guess you can. That's fine. But, like, who else on the men's roster? Legitimately.
I'm looking at it. There really isn't anyone. Duke Hudson is not to that level.
Duke Hudson.
I'm just looking at this whole thing. Lexus King is another one that they're just starting to turn babyface. Again, not on that level. There are very few names. I don't think Nakamura is losing it anytime soon, by the way. I don't think they're gonna have him, like, this might be a thing. This might be a better conversation for, like, WrestleMania time. Again, I think Nakamura is probably gonna hold it for a little bit. I would have him lose it before WrestleMania to Montez Ford. I have a feeling.
That's my end goal. How you get there, I don't know. I could fantasy book it out in the next 3 months, but we're not going to spend time doing that. But my end point would be Montez Ford.
See, I like the idea. I honestly, at the end of the day, feel like they're just going to go back to LA Knight and they'll do a best of 3, and Knight will either recapture it or Nakamura will stand tall while they hopefully build someone in the background to come after Nakamura in the next, let's say, 3 months. As early as Elimination Chamber or February, March, and leading into WrestleMania. Maybe CM Punk is going to ask, that's his favor. Send me to SmackDown so I can face Nakamura and win the US Championship. Main events, we're going to bounce around a little bit, but may as well just cover it now. Main event, men's WarGames match. The Bloodline, the OG Bloodline win. CM Punk hugs Paul Heyman on the way out of the cage and basically says, "Hey, you owe me one. When I'm ready for that favor, you better deliver." And Paul Heyman says, "You bet." And then Roman Reigns kind of gives him the old Punim check. Doesn't give him a hug. Everyone hugs Paul except for Roman, which I found interesting. Even Roman was doling out the hugs in the cage to everyone else. Not for Heyman, though. This is a match that had a lot of stories. Unfortunately, a couple of injuries. You mentioned Jimmy Uso having the broken toe. Bronson Reed, we're waiting for more, but there seems to be something going on, possibly with his ankles. He's having scans done today, according to Fightful Select. So go check that out. Best $5 in the business. Hopefully with Bronson, if anything, if there's an injury, it is very low time for return and he gets back ASAP, because even if he's just gone for the holidays, give him a month off. Sure. As long as he's back as soon as he can, heals up quick. But otherwise, men's WarGames match, lots happening. Let's dig in.
Let's not. Let's go back a night to SmackDown first.
Do we have to? I was watching TNA Turning Point while you guys were watching SmackDown. Please feel bad for me.
Well, I mean, look, you're the one who put this in the headline, CM Punk's Favour with Paul Heyman. So this was set up on SmackDown. So we kind of have to talk about this segment on SmackDown.
That's fair. Fine. Tee it up, please.
So they do this cinematic thing with CM Punk in Roman Reigns. The cinematic stuff is not out of the ordinary. You know, they did it with Roman and Cody beforehand. What did you make of this cinematic shot that they did? This was Roman and Punk's first big face-to-face since the last decade of stuff has happened. And they did it in, not in front of a live crowd, in a movie film setting. And it was pretty short and to the point. I think the whole segment was like 5 minutes long. And it basically came down to CM Punk saying, I'm not doing this for you, Roman. I'm doing this for Paul. And Paul owes me a favor. And Roman wondering what that was all about. That was the gist of the whole thing. But what do you make of them doing their first big sort of interaction in this format?
Given the taping schedule, they certainly weren't going to do it in front of a crowd because it was already taped. So they were kind of handcuffed to their schedule. If they wanted to do something in front of a crowd, it would have been out there already. There would have been fan cam footage. There would have been every word for word, the entire promo just out there for people to see. So for me, knowing that they did the Cody and Roman stuff, very cinematic and very pieced together. We talked about it at length actually back when it happened. That was it too much? And it felt like it was a little too much at the time, but that's been the presentation of the Bloodline saga. So they did it again, but they toned it back a little bit. There was no 9-car processional. They didn't do it in a big open field football stadium. They did it in a room and they just turned down the lights. And the mood was right. It was dingy. It was tense. It was good. It made sense. I liked it. They did tape the segment at the right frame rates and they presented it as such, which I appreciate. For those who haven't watched us before, I am a big proponent of taping things in the proper frame rates and airing them as such at the proper, with the proper expectation behind them. If it's live, anyway, not important. This particular one was done in a way that made sense because again, it was taped at a different time other than when SmackDown was airing. It was already taped. We knew this was taped as of Monday last week because they made reference to it on Raw that Roman and Punk would be face-to-face. They would sit down. The actual cinematic part of it was fine. The droning underneath didn't necessarily need to be there, but again, they're trying to establish some sort of mood. And it was fine. It was totally fine. It's the first run. I hope they don't get more and more lavish. I just hope they kind of stick to this was the introductory talk. And the next ones will be in front of people, or at least in some form where they're not stuck because they need a hook for the show. And that's what this was. I said we weren't going to do a turning point post show because everyone's going to want to talk about Punk and Roman. And maybe I worked myself into a shoot because it wasn't exactly the most amazing thing in the world, that 5-minute segment, but it was certainly bigger than anything that TNA was putting on that night too. So that's my general overall thoughts about everything, the presentation.
I think because they left so much on the table, it was fine. I understand people who are upset of why wasn't their first big interaction in front of a crowd? And imagine the crowd reacting to that. I think had they done this in front of a crowd, I'm less concerned about, the this stuff would have been out there. The spoilers would have been out there. There would have been fan cam footage and everything. Like, I think that can build anticipation for a segment and for a show. So I'm that doesn't concern me. I do think if you presented this in front of the crowd, people would have been left still wanting more out of it. For their first big promo in front of a crowd, you got to give a lot more than this. That's why if it was just going to be this, which obviously this is what it was, this is what we saw on television. Now they could have done a different segment in front of the live crowd, obviously. You know, if they did it in front of a live crowd, would it have been this? Don't know. We can't change the past when it comes to this. But for the content they presented, I thought this was fine just being a cinematic pre-tape. Look, it was 5 minutes. Demolition Worm saying if it was a little long, but I ultimately liked it. It was 5 minutes and they repeated themselves multiple times. Like, Punk can only say, I'm doing this for Heyman so many times. And he said it about 3 times during this. That's why I know I shortened it it basically came down to Punk saying Heyman owes him a favor. And that's that. It was a 5-minute segment and CM Punk missed the first minute of it. So it wasn't a long thing. And again, I don't think you could have done this in front of the live crowd and people been satisfied. I understand if you want their first big interaction to be in front of a live crowd. I think their first big interaction will be in front of a live crowd because they got a lot of stuff to address, as we know. They ain't going to do that, I wouldn't think, in some type of cinematic fashion. You know, when Seth Rollins and CM Punk had their big face-to-face address, which I was actually there for, that was live. That was them talking to each other and airing out some issues. This is also why I think, you know, people may have been upset. I don't know. I saw people discussing the comment about Punk's no comment, essentially. At the press conference, he was asked, what do you make of Roman's? It was brought up like, hey, you famously said, keep Roman strong. The whole goal in 2012 was to keep Roman strong. A decade later, after you've left the company, what do you make of his meteoric rise? And he said no comment. You can feel however you want to feel about that. To me, I read that as he ain't going to talk about this stuff at a press conference. This is television material here. He ain't saying everything he needs to say at a press conference. And he knows that. And I think Roman knows that too. Again, Punk said in the interview with Rosenberg, talking about Roman, it's like, I think our relationship's going to play out on television. And that's what we're seeing. It's very small right now, but the fact that Punk gave a no comment to that question, a very fair question, by the way, the fact that he gave no comment, it shows it's probably going to play out on television. And it wasn't going to play out in a 5-minute cinematic address. It's going to play out in front of a live crowd when they actually sit down and really talk about this stuff.
Yeah, this was the lead into a pay-per-view where Punk was the big surprise just to be a part of it, to have come back out of nowhere. This was the introduction. This was the very opening chapter. This wasn't even a chapter. This was chapter 0. This was the intro. There's a lot more to come out of this. And I, like you said, the presser, I was also happy that he didn't say anything. I was happy he left with no comment because Punk showing up, he felt bad because he felt like he was stepping on the Usos and Sami Zayn's feet because he showed up late, sat down, made a quip about muffins, and like he tried not to take away from his appearance there, except for that one moment that I clipped and put on Blue Sky, which was hilarious. The Shaq asking about Sami Zayn's trajectory and how he's been, and just once Shaq mentioned the WrestleMania match against Sweet Man, and Punk is just like, what? He
had no idea this match took place.
So good. And like, there's part of me that really believes that he didn't, but there's another part that just, I know better. At least I think I know better. But it was just so hilarious to me. That was my big takeaway, was Punk didn't know about that match. But with the storyline itself, with Punk and Roman and Heyman and all that, yeah, this is early days. And I think not blowing it in the middle of the ring on SmackDown, let alone a tape SmackDown, was a really good idea. Set the table. That's what they did with the 5 minutes that they had in the backstage promo that they filmed. When they go in front of the crowd, it's going to be because they have something to fight about. Right now, they got nothing to fight about. There's no title. There's no Ulafala for them. There's nothing. There's pride, sure, but like in WWE, pride only goes so far, and this has nothing. There's no reason for them to fight in like the WWE world. So you keep it light for now, you at least in terms of the words, and it worked. And then you say no comment. No muffins though. No muffins at the press conference.
Yeah, they gave them some treats there.
What was that? There were some.
I thought it was an empty box, which it was more funny to me that it was empty. But yeah, I thought it was an empty box at first. I couldn't actually tell what the desserts were, but Jay and Punk were not happy with them.
No,
Vancouver's got some shitty catering apparently.
You got to get better at that, Vancouver. Healthy city, my ass.
Is Vancouver allegedly a healthy city?
They're okay. I guess. I don't know. I haven't been to Vancouver in about 14 years. No, that's a lie. There was 20. No, it was 2012. So it's been 14 years.
Let's just Google. Is Vancouver healthy?
Compared to other Canadian cities, I wouldn't be surprised if they were.
Vancouver has a goal of being the healthiest city by 2020. Well, okay.
That's 4 years after that. And also the pandemic may have changed those plans.
Vancouver is the world's 10th cleanliest city. So, I mean, that seems good.
I can get behind that. When I was there, it was pretty clean.
Vancouver has a low number of overweight residents, few heavy drinkers, and a citywide smoking ban. Well, that explains why these desserts suck. They are healthy. These wrestlers don't want, healthy stuff after a long match. Just get us some fucking Dunkin' Donuts or something. That's all they want.
It would be Tim Hortons, but yes, the idea remains. Get them some Panago pizza.
They got Dunkin' Donuts in Vancouver.
I don't think they have Dunkin' in Vancouver. It's not. Dunkin's not a Canadian thing. We got Tim's here.
Is it not?
It's not.
I guess that's fair. I've only been to Canada once.
We have Krispy Kreme.
I haven't had Krispy Kreme in a while. I miss a good Krispy Kreme.
Me too. Want to go get Krispy Kreme after the show? You just have to fly here.
I don't know where the nearest Krispy Kreme is around here.
Just fly over here. It's like a $500 return ticket.
Yeah, that seems dumb. I feel like I could drive and be at a Krispy Kreme quicker, even if it's a little bit out of the ways.
That's valid. I mean, you should probably debate that. So what is the favor? Get in the car, get me some muffins, and come back to the show. What is Punk going to ask of Paul Heyman? And what does Roman think about Paul and his return? Because again, Roman hugged everyone else but Paul, and I think that's telling. Paul just did his.
They kept focusing on Heyman's Hall of Fame ring. I don't know if you caught that, but that was like the opening shot of the meeting. And then at the end, after Punk had left, Heyman was fidgeting with the Hall of Fame ring again as Roman's giving him, the side eye look or whatever. I don't know if that's meant to be something or if that's just meant to be a red herring. No idea. I don't know why Punk would want the Hall of Fame ring. Maybe they want to revive ECW. Maybe that's what
No.
Come on, it did big ratings. That's what it is. They're going to revive ECW. I figured it out.
Who's gonna be the commentator that does a work shoot interview / promo on the way out the door? Who's gonna do it? Joey's not around. They ain't gonna bring in Joel Gertner for that. Who's gonna do it this time around?
Michael Cole.
Stop it.
Michael Cole is gonna be like, been working at this place for 3 decades. I've been yelled at. I've been screamed at. I've been embarrassed. I've been asked to do dumb things. I've been getting wedgies. I've been bullied. I've been going through so much mental and physical anguish. Fuck you, Paul Levesque. Fuck you, Vince McMahon. Fuck you, Lee Fitting. I quit.
It's going to be Vic Joseph finally showing a backbone. Fuck you. I hate you.
Shucky ducky quack quack up your ass, Booker T.
Oh my God, that would be fantastic. Jason Lee fitting these nuts. Oh God, we are children at best. Lee just sitting in the back. What do I do?
He's listed as the executive director, so that's why, or producer or whatever. He's on the credits, so that's why I called him out.
Oh, Shawn Michaels, you bet you can suck mine. Oh God, yeah, I want to see Vic Joseph just lose his shit, just one time. Oh my goodness! Seriously, going back to it with Punk. What's he after? Is he after the world title? Is he after the WrestleMania main event? Is he after more than that? Does he want Heyman back? Does he want, I don't know. What can Heyman deliver that Punk can't ask for himself? Because let's not forget, CM Punk is also a very powerful figure in WWE because of literally an entire lifetime of stories you can tell from him. His return a year ago brought a lot of questions about like, what's his leverage? What can he do here? What can he not do here? And what can Heyman do that Punk can't? So what does Heyman get to do to help Punk out?
That's a good point of what does Heyman have, or what kind of pull does Heyman have that Punk wants as leverage for agreeing to doing this match? I don't feel like it's a world title match. Like, Punk can just get that. He beat Drew McIntyre. He's got a claim to wanting the world title, or to going after the world title. I mean, after he beat Drew at Clash of the Castle, he called out Gunther, and then Drew attacked him to set up Hell in a Cell. But like, he's already got a claim for a world title match, so I don't feel like it's a world title match. It feels like there's, again, something bigger at play here. And maybe it is a WrestleMania main event, because that's something that Heyman has been able to deliver. Again, it feels like Punk can probably work himself into that without Heyman. That's why the Hall of Fame ring feels like something that there's just something bigger at play. Maybe Punk just wants to be inducted to the Hall of Fame. Maybe he wants AJ in the Hall of Fame. It's like, Paul Heyman can get me. Maybe it's a unwritten rule. We don't know this, but like, the headliner from the previous year gets to choose the headliner for the following year. Maybe we just don't know that yet.
Hold on. Now I'm looking at the Hall of Fame. Now I'm seriously. Now we got to put this together. All right, here we go. Let's go.
It might be Punk wants kind of his own group, and Heyman is going to help kind of assemble that. It might be something to do with The Rock. It might be something to do with old Dwayne, because Heyman is like the wise man for Roman Reigns, but he's obviously a big part of the family overall. And you can make a Heyman and Rock connection very easily, especially because Rock as final boss was part of the Bloodline group with Heyman. So obviously they would have talked, and there would have been some communication there. And maybe it is something that Punk wants something to do with the final boss.
There is a story there because of how Punk's WWE Championship reign ended, right, by hands of The Rock. There is a story there. I don't know if is it important enough, so to speak? And they're not even important. It is important.
The Rock.
You're right. I know. That's why I walked it back. Is it something that, I mean, it's WrestleMania worthy from the way WrestleMania was presented for several years, where we joked about part-time mania. And in this case, you're almost doing it again. Because like Punk's been shuffled in and out, granted, but like The Rock is very much part-timer. Like, he comes around for Mania season, that's it. Punk has been around, but like, are you almost reintroducing part-time Mania out of this again? Is this, I don't know. I'm curious about whether or not it's a big deal to do Punk and Rock when you've got everything else going on with the Bloodline story. And John Cena as well coming in for this last run.
Roman is essentially a part-time guy, and he's headlined the last 5 WrestleManias.
Oh, that's since WrestleMania, but before that, he was still showing up with the belts most of the time.
It is The Rock. I don't care if it's part-time Mania. I think that argument's dumb in the first place, especially 2 nights. Get as much star power as you can on those shows. If you can get The Rock, if you can get John Cena, obviously they will have Cena for this one. The Rock's future seems to be, who knows, but if you can get these guys, get them. Throw them out there. If you can tell good stories out of it too. And look, they pivoted with The Rock last year, but the end game was still satisfying for a lot of people. The Rock worked a 40-minute tag team match that told the story for night 2 and set up everything on night 2. If you can tell good stories, whether they're part-time or not, bring them in there. Like, put as much top talent as you can, especially 2 nights of these shows. It'll be okay.
Paul Heyman was the class headliner in 2024.
Yeah.
2023 was Rey Mysterio. Are you trying to say that Rey Mysterio picked Paul Heyman?
Yeah. Honestly, that makes sense.
Yeah. How about the Undertaker and Rey Mysterio? Did Undertaker pick Rey Mysterio?
Yeah, that can make some sense. I mean, they work together a lot.
Yeah.
Rey Mysterio broke Undertaker's face with his ass.
Okay, you can do this. 2021, the class headliner was Kane. That makes perfect sense to have chosen.
He definitely picked the Undertaker. So, yep.
Why would the NWO as a group pick Kane?
Because they're all.
Come on, let's hear it.
They all vote the same way.
No, they don't. One of them definitely does.
Well,
One of
the
them.
leader of the NWO and Kane.
That's true. All right, now it's falling apart. Oh no, it's DX the year before.
DX would pick the NWO. Well, they're all friends. Like,
that's true. They're all pally pals. WrestleMania 31. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Goldberg picked DX.
Yeah, I mean, Goldberg respecting DX.
Triple H. He loved Triple H.
He likes Triple H, allegedly.
Yeah, so there's that. Okay, fine. Kurt Angle picked Goldberg.
Yeah, I can see that.
Why would Kurt Angle pick Goldberg?
Because Goldberg's a big, scary, intimidating dude who got pushed really quick like Kurt Angle did.
Sting picked Kurt Angle.
Yeah, Sting respects Kurt Angle from their TNA days.
Randy Savage picked Sting.
Well,
that was a posthumous induction.
Randy Savage and Sting work together in WCW. That makes sense.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, actually, that does make sense. Ultimate Warrior picked Randy Savage. I mean, he couldn't have, because Ultimate Warrior also, dropped dead 2 days after his induction. But
well, you pick him, when you get inducted, like that night.
pick him out of a fishbowl.
Hogan told Warrior to pick Savage, and so because before Warrior died, Hogan and Warrior mended all their fences, just like before Savage passed. Hogan and Savage mended all their fences.
Fair. I'm gonna have a hard time doing this one. Bruno Sammartino picked Ultimate Warrior. You can't defend that one.
Let the champions respecting champions.
Edge picked Bruno. That one makes sense.
Yeah.
Shawn picked Edge. Shawn Michaels picked Edge.
See that? Yeah.
Ted DiBiase picked Shawn Michaels.
Yeah. Why wouldn't they?
All right. Stone Cold picked Ted DiBiase. That makes sense.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Ted DiBiase was a headliner?
Allegedly in 2010. That was he's headlined as the Bullface. That may have also just been he was the first one announced. But then again,
who else was inducted in this class?
Yeah, his induction class was not that great. Okay. Stu Hart, Maurice Vachon, Gorgeous George, Antonio Inoki, Bob Uecker, and Wendy Richter.
Yeah,
Ted DiBiase would have been the most out there WWE name, most well known out of all of them. Stu Hart, you can make you can make case, but also Stu, it was posthumous. And then finally, Ric Flair. Well, I'm not going to go too far out. Ric Flair picked Stone Cold.
Yeah, easily.
I have a hard time believing Dusty Rhodes picked Ric Flair, though.
Why?
They weren't exactly best pals.
But they had legendary battles together, so the respect there. You know?
I guess. And then Bret Hart picked Dusty.
Yeah.
Hogan picked Bret.
All right, now
now we're having trouble.
He was returning the favor from WrestleMania 9. He's like, Bret let me come in at WrestleMania 9, so you know what, brother? You could go into the Hall of Fame.
Oh God.
It still works. Who picked Hogan?
There was no class leader that year.
Oh, so Vince picked Hogan. So yeah, that's
so that's really as far as we can get here. Like there were obviously other Hall of Fame.
It kind of works. Like
it does.
Kind of works.
It does. Unfortunately, it does. And of course, the TBD here is Batista.
Yeah.
I mean, so 2004 was the first year they brought it back from 96. So they brought it back, and that was the year where they went ham. They were like Big John Studd, Bobby Heenan, Don Morocco, Greg Valentine, Harley Race, Jesse Ventura, Junkyard Dog, Sergeant Slaughter, Superstar Billy Graham, Tito Santana, and Pete Rose was the celebrity inductee. That was at in New York because it was going into WrestleMania 20. So if you say, I don't know, is it Hogan? So let's say Superstar Billy Graham was the guy. Let's say he was the main guy. He picked Hogan.
Okay. I don't know about that. I don't feel like
I don't know.
Graham and Hulk
I don't think
Hogan.
anyone would have picked Hogan, quite frankly, from this.
No, I think people would have picked Hogan. People, for some reason, like Hogan. So, yeah. No, wait. I think this theory works.
It does.
Like we did it. Yeah.
So who does Paul pick?
AJ Lee. That's the favor.
AJ Lee is the
Let's light it up.
I need you to pick me. Oh man, yeah, the celeb inductee picks the headliner, and Batista's just off to the side, being like, "When do I get my shot?"
Well, Batista needs to return. You know?
He ain't coming back to wrestle.
Paul's gonna pick like Tommy Dreamer.
Oh no! After what I watched on Friday, I don't think Tommy Dreamer should be booked anywhere near a Hall of Fame. Oh, I'll spend 90 seconds on TNA later on, but
that sounds terrible.
I know I'm not looking forward to that either. But yeah, the Punk thing is it's encouraging because we talked about it when the introduction of Punk into the WarGames match came about, and we were like, we knew why it was important and we knew why it was a good idea, but it was also like, man, how are they going to make this kind of blend in and make sense beyond just Roman and Punk have a history? Well, now we've introduced Paul, of course. There's very clearly history there. We know that. And now there's a favor involved. So there's a little bit of future and not just the past involved in the storytelling here. And I like it. I like where it's going. I like that we're on edge. It could be a world title match, but again, Punk already has clear stakes to a world title match. I don't know what Paul can offer Punk that Punk can't get for himself. That's where I'm always like, where does Paul have leverage beyond? Like, can he do it that he crosses over to SmackDown? I feel like Punk can go over to any general manager and say, put me on your show. And they'll be like, yes, sir. I'd love to have you on my show, Mr. Ratings Boost Punk. I don't know what Heyman can offer.
He's Punk not RB Punk. He's CM Punk.
You're right. Mr. What's another? I don't know. Something mover?
Chart mover
Punk.
Chart mover Punk.
I don't know. But that's the thing. Like, what can Punk deliver or what can Paul Heyman deliver that CM Punk doesn't already have? AJ Lee's induction into the Hall of Fame, I know.
The Ulafala.
That would be very funny. I am the new tribal chief. Punk just steals the entire Bloodline story. Commandeers it. He does his own Moxley Death Rider story.
You know, he keeps going like this and then go to sleep, but it's really like this. He's going, I love you, Solo.
I want Jacob Fatu as my heater.
So Punk would be smart as hell to be like, yeah, let me get Jacob Fatu over here.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, Punk's got to get himself to a WrestleMania main event somehow. That's just, again, that was the whole reason he came back. He made that his whole like life story coming back. I don't know how Heyman makes that a thing unless he can deliver The Rock, and The Rock is an automatic main event status match. That's like one of the main reasons why bringing that up makes sense.
It does, but man, are you really going to?
You're reaching if you do it. I know.
It's not necessarily a reach. I truly don't think it's a reach because there's history with Punk and Rock, and obviously the Heyman tie works as well. It's not so much that it's a reach, it's that you're going around some pretty big stories in Rock Cody and Rock Roman, like some really big stories on that front. So that's where it doesn't quite work to me. Is if you're going Rock and Punk, you're basically cutting out, unless you're going to do another tag team match night 1, singles match night 2 gimmick, but like, we just did that. We don't need to do that again. So you're going around some bigger Rock matches for Rock and Punk, because as big as Rock and Punk might be, Rock and Roman is bigger. Rock and Cody is bigger.
The ITW general manager saying they're going to have a Twitter campaign again if they do Punk and Rock. It's a good point. Like Punk should be upset that his main event opportunities have been relegated to the World Championship because of everything going on with the Bloodline. Like he should have been like, I sat back, I watched WrestleMania 40, and I saw that there was no chance for me to be in a main event, even if I was healthy, because you ended up doing the tag match as the main event night 1. And then Cody and Roman got the main event night 2. I want the main event. I don't want to be on first. I don't want to be on third. I don't want to be called the main event and then put on not to be put on last. I want to be on last. That is almost the assurance that Paul needs to get for Punk by doing what? I don't know. Maybe Punk wants to be number 30 in the Rumble. Maybe that's what it is, but that's a heel tactic.
It's a weak favor.
It is a weak favor. And then again, 30 doesn't always you win.
What if it's not Rock? What if it's Roman? Roman's the main event. Roman's been the main event. Roman was the guy who headlined both nights this past year. Cody did as well. But Roman's the guy who has been the main event for, like 8 out of 10 years or something? Like, it's an absurd number, the amount of times Roman has been the main event. I know The Rock's The Rock. But Roman is the guy. He said it himself. He's like, I know it was a little tongue-in-cheek because he's playing Tribal Chief, but when he was asked, oh, what'd you make of Cody and Rock? And it looked like it was going to be you against Rock, but then it turned out to be Cody against you. Like, what was your stance on that whole thing? Roman said, point blank, I didn't care. I was the main event. That's it. So what if it's not The Rock? What if it is Roman? Punk wants Roman, which would make a lot of sense because The Rock is not a guarantee. And it's not that The Rock's not a guarantee to be the main event. Because, if The Rock's there, he's most likely the main event. Roman, for all intents and purposes, is a guarantee. 1, that he will be there. 2, that he's the main event. Because you got 2 nights. Roman ain't going on second to last or first on one of these nights. He's going on last one of these nights, most likely the second night, based on everything we've seen since 2-night WrestleMania, where literally Roman Reigns has gone on last every single 2-night WrestleMania. So what if that's Punk's endgame? He wants the match with Roman. Roman is the guarantee that gets him to the main event.
What if Punk just wants Stone Cold Steve Austin? Then Heyman
maybe
can deliver.
Heyman can deliver that. There's history with Heyman and Austin to where, Heyman might be the guy to deliver that. That's not terrible.
And the whole thing is it drives the wedge between Roman and Heyman, because Heyman can't tell you what it is. For some reason, Paul Heyman is a genie, and I don't know why. You rub his bald head and you get 3 wishes. But in this case, he can't really tell him because it's a covert operation of some sorts. I don't know if that's what it is. Again, spitballing the most ridiculous ideas I can, but it's got to at least make some sort of sense. You could do like Big Man Dogs is saying, Punk and Stone Cold is a great night 1 main event, and that's why Punk would want Stone Cold, is because he guarantees himself a main event because of history. And the last time that, what happened the last time Austin showed up on WrestleMania? It was a talk show and it turned into a match, but like it was a talk show and it was the main event. It was the last segment on the show. So you can do that again. And maybe that's what his feeling is. People saying they need to let him go. He can still go. He can still have little silly matches like this. I don't think Punk's a big like work rate match out of it.
Yeah, Punk's gonna just bump around for him, and Austin can take a handful of bumps and probably be okay. Oh, good. Austin's a good shout of something that Heyman might be able to deliver that people aren't really thinking of, because Austin's not at the forefront of anybody's thought because he hasn't been on television in 2 years. But there's obviously the history with Heyman and Austin to where, Heyman can deliver Steve Austin. I think there are a lot of ways to go with this, and I think that's why they're specifically keeping it vague of just a favor. It could be a million different things. It could be something as big as a match with Roman or Rock or Austin. It could be something as small as number 30 in the Rumble, which feels like a waste, but look, at the end, you still deliver on the favor, even if people aren't fully satisfied with it. Does seem like that's all you're going to ask. Well, figure something else out. But like they're keeping it open-ended for obvious reasons. They don't have to tell us what it is immediately. We'll let it play out. And I do think there's part of it that maybe there's some contingency plan here. Because The Rock, as much as he's set up with Cody and our story's not finished and all this stuff, The Rock schedule's The Rock schedule. They don't know when he's coming in. They never know. It looked like it was pretty set for WrestleMania 38, and then it wasn't set. And then 39, they had one idea, and then the internet turned it into a different idea. So they don't know if The Rock's going to be available until maybe 2 months out or something. And then you make plans. But I think they're trying to set themselves up to go different avenues in case The Rock isn't there. Or if he is there, you pivot to a different way. It's always good to just have options on the table. So you're not stuck as, all right, maybe you have an end game in mind, but it's okay to have different end games in mind in case something falls through, instead of, nope, this is what we're doing. This is what we're putting on paper. Maybe, Triple H talks about the GPS will tell us how to get there and everything. Maybe we go a different direction to get there, but it's also okay to be like, we might have destination A, destination B. In the end, it'll all work out. In case A falls through, B is still a good plan.
And TNA still has Destination X. Allegedly. It should just be, Paul, I've decided what I want. What would you like, Punk? I want custody of your kids. And Paul's just like, you want what? I want custody of your kids.
This sounds awful.
Then it does. And he signs over custody of the kids, and Punk has to raise Paul Heyman's kids. That's it. That's it. And they do it all on TV.
Why would Punk want this?
I don't know. It's the same reason they did the Dominic Mysterio, Eddie and Ray thing. Except there's no like family lineage on the line here. Just got to sign over the kids.
Sounds bad.
Well, most things do when we talk about it.
Aren't Heyman's kids like teenagers? Like grown?
No. Well, the good news is if they're under 18, then emancipation isn't on the table yet. This is awful, and I need to stop the conversation before it gets worse.
Are you stupid or are you dumb?
Stuff can be two things. Women's WarGames match. They did the thing, Jeremy. They did the thing. Tiffany Stratton pulls out the briefcase, which, by the way, I thought it was very funny that she comes out without the briefcase and then she pulls it out of a trash can, because, of course, that's what Money in the Bank is these days. And then they're like, she's going to cash in. She's going to cash in. And they did the exact thing that I joked about on Friday, where Corey Graves is like, what do they do? Michael Cole, explain it. And Michael Cole's like, I don't know. And then, of course, it's all a tease and nothing happens. Women's WarGames was fine, but that was really the moment for me. I know everyone's excited about EO and the trash can and trusting in a trash can, but the Money in the Bank stuff, I just love it when shit gets pulled from conversations we have, and that's it.
Cowardly that they did not actually have this Money in the Bank cash in. Cowardly. I didn't think either WarGames match was like great. The men's match had the storytelling elements that made it a lot better because people were very invested in, you know, the Roman and Punk dynamic. I thought overall, like, the work was generally better in the men's match. The women's match, just, it dragged. The stuff didn't always look great. And then Rhea just pins Liv like we haven't seen that a million times before. It really felt like the heels needed this win in the women's match, especially if you're going to do the baby faces winning in the main event. You're going to double up on babyface wins. Like, it really felt like the heels needed it a little bit more because Liv doesn't feel like a great champion. I know she's a chicken shit heel. She gets by with help. Like, I get all of that. Nia has felt dominant at times, but she's also needed like distractions to win. And then she lost to Bianca on the Raw leading up to Survivor Series. It felt like the heels could have used a nice big victory here. And instead it was, oh, Rhea has pinned Liv once again. It's like, all right, just put the belt back on Rhea or just put it back on Rhea because I don't know. Or actually have like Liv beat her and be done with this. I feel like we've seen this just way too often.
Yeah, the women's, I mean, and both war games run into the same problem where nothing really matters until you fill the ring with all members. And then the plunder is in. This was another thing that I kind of took from both matches is there too much plunder? And to bring them into the ring, every single person who came into the ring stops for an extra minute so that they can dig under the ring for the whatever their actual weapon is supposed to be. They just bring it in. I don't know why we keep playing this game where you have to kill time to find the weapons and then bring them in. We should just have them at the ready or hang them from the cage, from the shark cages. Do something, just put them somewhere that it's not just under the ring. Make it more obvious that they're available. Put them around the ring when you bring down the cage, like they did when they did the match with Adam Cole and was it Kyle O'Reilly? Whatever the match was in Toronto that I watched. The weapons were all around the cage. Do that stuff. TNA did it back in the day. Just put the weapons on the cage. But yeah, the match itself for the women's war games was fine. I don't know where Bayley went in the middle of it. I don't know where Candice LeRae went in the middle of it. There were a lot of moments where suddenly Rhea was there and like Rhea was the star and no one else really mattered. It felt like other people kind of fell by the wayside so that we refocused on Rhea and Liv Morgan. And then of course Raquel's involved as well. But other than that, it was like everyone was just kind of there.
I thought this would have been a good opportunity to have the heels win too and tell the story of, oh, there's still distrust with Bayley and Bianca, Bayley and Io, even somewhat Bianca and Io. Like there can be some distrust there. And there just wasn't. They just kind of kept it moving. And again, Rhea just wins. Look, Rhea should be presented as a dominant force. I have no problem with her being dominant. But in a match like this, you don't need to do it. There are other women who can take a pinfall. Like, you don't have to just do, oh, Rhea pins Liv. Like, we've seen it. We've done it. You could have Nia pinning Bayley, Nia pinning Bianca. You could have done something differently here. And they didn't. It was just Rhea looks strong. All right.
Meanwhile, Io has a women's world championship match coming up. Rhea kind of intimated that it was going to be at Saturday night's main event during the post-show presser, but it hasn't been announced yet. I think it's fair to assume it is, but until anything's announced, we don't know. Like we say here on the show, an announcement is the difference between a PLE and a television show. So we don't know when it's going to be announced. We'll see where it goes. Like I said, Rhea kind of made reference to it being on Saturday night's main event, but that's not officially announced yet. Nowhere that I'm seeing either. So unless you've seen it, and I don't think you have.
No, yeah, Rhea kind of mentioned it, and obviously we know Io does have the next match because she won the Battle Royal. So when it's going to be, Saturday night's main event makes sense. We shall see if that's when they end up doing it.
And Bron Breakker retained his Intercontinental Championship. Good match, fun stuff. Sheamus gets honey dicked again. He's never gonna win that crown.
I didn't think Sheamus was gonna win it in this triple threat match. Like they're gonna do it as a big single solo moment for him.
Someone mentioning Rhea's mask and saying it should be DLC for 2K. I agree with that. They had Bianca Belair. Her ring attire was created by someone, a 2K creator. So good stuff. I would like to see that mask used again in some way, shape, or form, even on the video games, because it was badass. When I saw it, I was like, that was wild. But yeah, the triple threat with Breakker and Sheamus and Ludwig Kaiser was a lot of fun. They went ham. They always do. And yeah, other than Bron Breakker retaining, this match was as expected.
I don't know how long they're going to wait on Bron Breakker because they got so much other stuff going on. I don't know if they can wait too long on Bron Breakker. He's just different than everybody else. I think people know that, recognize that. The speed, the power, just like the combination of everything he does looks so good and so devastating that you can only kind of keep this guy in mid-card stuff for so long. At some point, you got to prop him to the next level. And I just don't know how much longer they're going to be able to be like, yeah, we'll just kind of keep you here because we got Damian Priest and Gunther and all this stuff. Like it feels like on Raw, especially where you don't have Cody and Bloodline. I know things are going to shift when it comes to Netflix, but until then, or once things get shifted, maybe that's when Netflix or Raw has Cody and Bloodline, and then on SmackDown, you can maybe do a little bit more. But at some point, you're going to have to really go with this guy, like sooner rather than later.
They still have some time. I feel like maybe it's an after Mania push for Bron Breakker into the summertime. When things kind of lull and you can try something new, he's the kind of guy that you want to go for and give a shot to. Similar to what they did with Damian Priest, right? Priest came in and he got his world title and they gave him the ball and he ran with it for a bit. Wasn't the most amazing title run ever, but it showed that he could run with it. It showed that he could do it. And I feel like he'll do that with Bron as early as this summer.
It might be this summer. It might not be until after WrestleMania, but they gotta get them there. They gotta get him there, I should say. It feels like pretty quickly.
Well, speaking of quickly, Gunther's got his confidence back, and we're right back to Balor and Priest. I know that you and I were talking on Friday about not necessarily being interested in Balor and Priest again. We're gonna get it. I'd probably just put this in a cage, blow it off, make it a big match. That's it. Do it on a Raw or do it on Saturday night's main event. I see it on Saturday night's main event because it's a cage, because you got to do one match that's like, different from the rest. You got a title match.
Cage.
I kind of thought about doing the blue cage. I know they hate bumping in the blue cage because it has no give. It's essentially just steel, and it's really painful to handle. But the blue cage will be fun if they can find a way to work around it. But like you got a world title match. You've got the first U.S. women's champion going to be crowned there. You have other matches that are going to have some sort of stipulation. A cage match is just where you would put something like this. It's a big network TV show. Do Balor and Priest one last time. Do it in a cage. That's it. Gunther found his confidence again after Priest got hurt in the match, and that was it. It's just they tried to tell a mini story going into the match. It didn't necessarily land. I'll give them points for trying, but it certainly wasn't one that I enjoyed.
I think they're going to do a triple threat match
Because Gunther's pissed at Balor for getting involved and stopping him from winning the title back. Retaining the title on his own.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they're going to end up doing a triple threat match. I'm all for just ending Priest and Balor, but like it ended at the Bad Blood, whatever show it was, where Priest beat him clean. He beat him clean. It isn't. I don't need to see it anymore after that. I know Balor's the heel, and he's like, "Oh man, I'm making it my life's mission to not have the title back with Priest." But I think that's why you can do a triple threat match, is because Gunther isn't happy that Balor interfered. So do a triple threat match and have Gunther stack him.
Damn.
I need a strong Gunther again. I don't. They've put Balor where they've put him. It's not necessarily that Balor can't do more, but I don't feel like they're going to elevate him to do more. Priest is good, and Priest has been booked very strong, but they gotta put a little bit more shine back on Gunther, and him escaping thanks to help by Finn Balor ain't exactly the way to do it. And him getting punked out the entire lead up to this match ain't exactly the way to do it to me either. So yeah, have him come in there. Even if, maybe he doesn't stack him, but he definitively like ends Priest and then pins Balor. Something like that. None of this, oh, Damian Priest hit the South of Heaven choke slam on Balor, and then Gunther throws Priest out of the ring, and then Gunther chokes out Balor or pins Balor. None of that. He completely, like, he power bombs and puts Priest down. Here comes Balor to try to do something, and he taps out Balor. Like, both Balor and Priest are laid out at the end of this match, and Gunther reigns.
I wouldn't hate it. It reestablishes Gunther's dominance as he goes into WrestleMania season. And again, I don't know if Gunther is looking towards a bunch of legends, if he's going to get, John Cena. Goldberg was another name you and I talked about. CM Punk, if that's where they're going to go with him. Maybe that is Gunther's next few months, is going to be people who are just absolutely big timer stars, and he's going to have to either go through them or eventually lose to one of them. But if he has all the confidence in the world, you can tell either story. Either he got too cocky, or he's cocky enough because he's that damn good that the first couple he beats down and the third one he loses to.
I just need them to move on from, and I know I just suggested a triple threat match for Saturday night's main event, but they need to move on from the Gunther and Priest stuff, because Gunther's reign has felt a little, he won, he lost to Cody, did a match with Orton, which was really good. Like, there was at least some story there. A little long match.
Well, they had to manufacture the story because of the King of the Ring final.
Sure, but it wasn't like a super manufactured. Like, they played off the history as they should.
Yeah. They got kind of lucky. They lucked into the story. How's that?
Yeah. And now, if he just keeps feuding with Priest, it's like, man, we've already done 2 matches with him. Can we move on to something else, please?
Yeah. We'll see where they go. Jay Miller sent a super chat saying, worked at a theater in 2006 and tickets were between $3.75 and $6. God dang. We're old.
No, yeah.
It's a good price. There used to be $5 movies in one of my old theater spots.
You know the most upsetting thing, speaking of $5, subscribe to Fightful Select? Charles Barkley is doing these commercials for Subway.
And they're no longer $5 footlongs.
And he's like so joyous over, you can get any sub, any length, $7. I can't believe Subway is doing that. Charles. I don't know if you're listening to me, but if you are, I know damn well you were alive when $5 footlongs existed. I know damn well you were eating those $5 footlongs. I saw you at a Subway once ordering a $5 footlong. Meatball sub, extra cheese is what Charles ordered at this Subway. You know these things were $2 less years ago. Do not gaslight me into thinking $7 is some type of steal. Absolutely not. $7 is $2 more than we used to pay. For lesser quality, by the way. Subway has gone downhill as far as quality. It ain't fresh. It ain't as fresh as it used to be. Anyway. Be better, Charles. Be better.
What kind of sub do you get?
I like chicken bacon ranch. That's always a good one. I do go with the meatball.
Yeah, I'm cheap. I get the meatball most of the time, or steak and
Yeah.
cheese, or oven roasted chicken.
Steak and cheese isn't too bad. I'll be honest, I haven't had Subway in forever because the prices are absurd, and like I don't feel the quality is that great. So it's not like I'm going out of my way to get a Subway. We got a Subway up the street. I don't think I actually know it's not. I don't think I've never eaten there. I legitimately cannot remember the last time I had Subway. Cannot remember. I usually go to. We have a Jimmy John's up the street, and Jimmy John's is much better.
Checking my app here, see if there's anything good. Get a foot-long turkey for $8.99. It's Canadian, by the way. Get $1 off any Snackwich, whatever that is. Get 3 BYO foot-long
That's a
subs.
Witch, isn't it? Snackwich, isn't it? Witch?
They call it Snackwich here.
Oh, okay.
Get 3 BYO foot-long subs for $23.99. BYO in this case being build your own, not bring your own. You're not paying them for the sub you bought. They are making it for you. Or 20% off any one item after 5 p.m. on weekdays.
Pro tip, life hack, whatever you want to call it.
Put crack in your own bed?
Sure. But
right.
Go to Jimmy John's when they're about to close. Just ask for bread. Because what they do, they don't keep it out. They don't keep it overnight. They basically just toss it. So go to Jimmy John's as they're about to close. And instead of tossing their bread, they will give you bread.
I didn't think they were allowed to do that stuff.
Well, you got to make friends, Joel.
I'm not good at having friends.
Fair.
No.
But yes, you can go to Jimmy John's and just be like, hey, can I get the bread? Because they're just going to toss it. They'll give it to you. Maybe they're not allowed to fire you from Jimmy John's. Who's going to narc? You're getting free bread. Don't be a narc.
Hey, man, I think the bread should go to people who need it. But a lot of places throw it out.
Well, if I walk into Jimmy John's and ask for it, then I need it.
Valid. I meant more people in more precarious situations in life, but I agree with you.
They should go into Jimmy John's as they're about to close.
That's a whole other. Nope. I'm not doing that conversation right now. No, sir. And what else is left? Oh, people asked about how long Saturday night's main event would be. In the past, they were a 2-hour show, just like because it was replacing Saturday Night Live. That was what Saturday night's main event used to be on NBC. Conventional wisdom would dictate it's the same thing. 2-hour show, tight 2, that's it. So that's what I'm expecting, but obviously no announcements been made yet. Once it's there, we'll know. Or really, we'll just watch the show and find out in real time.
Hope it's like a minute. It's a 1-minute show.
It's going to be like watching Andrew Baydala review Raw in a minute on TikTok.
And wrestling.
Fair. Did you watch Costco Guys on AEW?
Yes.
They basically ripped off our bit that we ripped off from them and put it on an RJ City show.
Yeah, fair. That is.
I would do too. Very good though. If you haven't gone out of your way to watch the AEW with Costco Guys, it's not even the Costco Guys. It's the Costco family at that point. He's got his wife and his older daughter, his eldest daughter there, and every other answer. It may surprise you in that they bring the boom. Every time. Boom. Apparently Jeremy is absolutely hilarious, but don't let people know about that in the chat.
That person's trolling, but thank you.
Good for them. RJ City playing the role of Jeremy. Oh man. Yeah, they've brought up a good point. How does Cole Cabana feel about all this? He stole the boom.
Well, he is the boom. You know, he's boom Cole Cabana.
That's true. Adam Cole should equally be upset. I've said it for a long time.
They gave Adam Cole a boom.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
They should have just teamed them up. AJ and Adam Cole should go after the tag titles. They should be Private Party.
I was going to say, who are the tag team champions?
Private Party. They teamed with Mystico on AEW Collision.
Oh, yeah, I watched Collision too.
Yeah, the Johnny TV and MXM collection teamed up. That was a trios match on the show. It was fine. Like collision was fine. I'm not going to sit here and bury it. It was a bunch of matches that were good. Send our best to Juice Robinson. He is reportedly injured after his match with Will Ospreay from the tapings. So we don't know what that means for his status in the C2, but wish him well. But yeah, he and Ospreay had a good match. Ospreay's, right back in it, doing his thing after his match with Fletcher. And Fletcher was also on the card having a match with Beast Mortos. So it's C2 season continued on Collision.
Okada and Garcia went to a draw, cowardly finish, but expected.
Are you trolling or do you really feel that way? Because I'm curious as to your reaction to that being a time limit draw. I have my feelings about it. I'm curious about yours for real.
I think it was expected because you didn't want to beat Daniel Garcia immediately after winning the TNT title. They don't want to beat Okada. I personally think they should have just beaten Okada. I think you make Garcia, have him win that match, and that be that. I know they'd like to do the draw because you get 1 point for a draw. And so when it's only a 5-match tournament, because there's 6 people and everybody has 1 matches, so that's 5 matches. I think my math is mathing there. I understand why they do a draw because they did a draw last year, and it led to the triple threat match in the league finals and everything. So they use it to maybe get to another triple threat match. I hope not, but I get it. I just think, a little cowardly. I thought they could have done a finish and had Daniel Garcia win.
I think the only reason why I was okay with the draw is because last year there were so many instances of matches where people were saying, oh, this is going to be the draw. No, this is going to be the draw. And so doing it in the first week of matches, it gets that story out of the way. It gets that idea right out of the way. And also it shows that there can be more than just one draw. That is a big deal. For me, that worked out. Now, doing it with 2 of your champions, that feels a little convoluted. Like you could have done that with a different match. Could have done it with Juice and Will Ospreay, or you could have done that. I don't know when you could have done that. But I do hope that they do a few draws here and there when the moment counts. At the same point, we talk about middling a lot. And it feels like if you do that, you might be middling too many people if you do too many. But I hope that they find maybe like a one of these matches, right? The top and bottom of the caliber, and find a way to raise one guy up to the level of the top caliber guy by doing a draw. Don't know if they'll do that, but the draw can be used in a certain way that's actually impressive if done right and not too often. But I'm glad they got it out of the way quickly. We'll see where the rest of the C2 goes, but I don't know if you have any other thoughts about the actual C2 as it stands, after about a week.
I hope we don't get more draws. I don't want more. Like
every match should end in a draw. I want 20 minutes. We're out of time because we had draws on every, like you got 20 minutes. It's a 2-hour show, 3 matches. That's 60 minutes right there. First hour, nothing but draws. AEW Drawnomite.
Like I could see them doing a draw for something like Ospreay and Darby. I could 100% see that being like a draw.
Yep.
I don't want it. I want guys winning and guys losing. It'll be okay if they lose. And I think Okada could have lost here, and it would have been fine had he lost. But they did a draw. It's fine. Like I understand it as a storytelling device. I guess I'm down on it because it's 2 champions. And that's why I think it just felt a little cowardly. It's like, oh, we're not going to beat any of our champions in the first match. The 2 champions are going to go to a draw. Beat Okada. It'll be okay. I don't think they should have beaten Garcia because Garcia didn't need to lose his first match after winning the TNT title. But I think he could have beaten Okada and be like, look, Daniel Garcia, this is different this year. This is different for him.
I just wouldn't have booked those 2 together in the first match of the tournament, like the first week of the tournament. I would have preferred to have Daniel Garcia and Kazuchika Okada win their first matches and then not team up, but have a match later on in the tournament that would have been okay as a draw. It just felt like doing it right away. That was a little like, in the grand scheme of things, we could have done it later. I think that would have worked.
Yeah.
Outrunners. Let's talk about that real quick. They win their match against the Iron Savages as expected. FTR come out. That's really what I'm getting at. FTR come out. They do the big handshake again, and it's a big, meme moment. What's going on with FTR? I'm seriously asking, like, what is going on with FTR? They show up at Collision and they do this, and then they shake their hands and they do the Predator handshake, alien, whatever, the horror movie handshake. What's going on with this? Is this important? Is FTR losing steam? What are we doing here? Are we going to FTR versus the Outrunners? Do you need Dax to come out and cut a raw AEW promo? Is that what we need? I love the 90s so much.
I'm not going to pretend to care about what FTR is doing. They don't do a whole lot for me. They just don't. Good tag team, good wrestlers. They haven't had a great story that I've felt connected to in a while. Outrunners are cool. I like their presentation. Wrestlers is fine. Like, nothing spectacular. I can't pretend to care about what's happening with Outrunners and FTR or the tag division. Honestly, like, Private Party won and they're just doing a match with Mystico against MXM and Johnny TV for like reasons and stuff. Where's Stokely Hathaway? Remember when he was like, hey, I'm going to recruit tag teams and I'm scouting tag teams and you guys, you need my help. And then he just disappeared.
Hot take? Right. Fine with that.
Sure. Like, okay. As a television viewer, though, why get invested in this stuff?
I get it.
They're just going to do that, and then it's not going to mean anything. I know, Joel, and you know I know, but like,
it's not even about anything like that. He just, in the Stokely world, he hasn't been that entertaining to me in a while. And maybe that's just because a lot of his stuff gets blown off really quickly, out of nowhere, seemingly as well. This is more just my reasoning for not caring is because, like you said, I haven't been given a reason to care. And so as a result, because it's happened too many times, I don't care as a result of those times. I'm speaking purely from the TV standpoint, like you're mentioning. I don't care about him. Because he's never proven to be of any importance, and they certainly haven't made him important over the last few attempts. That's all.
I mean, they did make him important with Statlander, and then something happened there.
Right, but they just this is what I'm saying though. They blew it off again, and at that point, I just don't care, because if they're not going to show me that Stokely's important, then I'm not going to give a shit about Stokely, regardless of what they do with him or where they put him. It devalues him as much. This is again, they're doing this with Hook and Christian Cage to a certain degree as well. We haven't seen Hook on the show in a couple of weeks, and that was a whole thing. You attacked Taz. You attacked my father. Prepare to die. And no, nothing has come from that. Instead, Christian Cage is back in the world title picture.
Well, they're doing Hook and Nick Wayne at Hammerstein. They set that up on Lucha Rampage.
Sure. In 3-4 weeks, we're going to see that match. What are we going to do?
Got something to build towards.
I hope that they do. I do hope that they do.
But I'm with you. I'm with you that, okay, Christian did the attacking, and now Christian's just doing a world title program, and Hook is facing Nick Wayne. Like, Nick Wayne is a guy who they haven't done a whole lot with. He's been attached to Christian, and that gives you some cachet. But like, as far as in-ring performance, he loses all of his big matches, and then who could possibly care past that?
Yeah, it's a valid point. Right,
so you asked about FTR and Outrunners. This is where I'm at.
That's fair.
With
And
it.
that's I know. That's why I'm saying I hear you. And I also, brings up a couple people wanting to talk about it. Chi-Town Spurs sent a super chat saying, really think a Mox confrontation of FTR, asking why they've become goofy idiots, causing them to turn on the Outrunners is the move. It's a good idea. Again, you and I have posited this. It should be FTR. We're super serious. And they, at the same time, they're also rah. I love AEW and I don't like what you're doing, Mox. There should be some integration of FTR with the Death Rider story. They're just not doing it.
Yeah, I've said this from the start that FTR should have been going up to Mox and being like, what do you mean AEW is bad? No, we love AEW. They say it all the time. Go up to the guy who is actively trying to kill the promotion and actively saying, this sucks. I think this sucks. I'm disgusted by this title. Go tell him that. Quit just telling the fans we love AEW. Go tell the guy who is actively against AEW.
They should have signed Jacob Fatu. Put him with Mox. I love you, Moxley. I love AEW. We just should have done this the whole time.
They should actually have someone who's just like Jacob Fatu just behind. Maybe the Outrunners can do that.
Perfect. That's what you need. Sorry. The Death Riders, they did show up on Collision. Hangman Adam Page beat Wheeler Yuta, beat down Wheeler Yuta. Everyone beat down Wheeler Yuta. And Death Riders just kind of watched from the stands like fans. Good for them. What's going to happen with Yuta? Is he going to be pissed off at one point, or is he just going to continue with the group and just be like, this was a lesson for me. I had to learn. This is Stockholm syndrome for Wheeler Yuta.
Maybe.
Hangman and Jay White still have their thing. Feels like this is going to a four-way for World's End. World's End is a pay-per-view. I mean, last year wasn't exactly great either. They limped out of 2023. So both literally.
What are you talking about? We had the devil reveal.
Yep. They limped out of 2023. And I don't know. I'm hoping we're not going to see that in 2024, but they're certainly not making a hot world title match for that show. I like Jay White and I like Hangman Page. And I like their pairing and I like their matches. I don't know. Maybe as a triple threat, I'm still caught up in the what's the point of Moxley as the champion if everyone else, what's Moxley trying to prove when these guys just want the title? They don't want to change AEW. They don't want to stop Moxley. They just want the title. The title is supposed to be the pawn, but it's now meaningless. It's tough. And maybe this is just a side project while we're getting back on track with Darby or whoever is going to be the one to quote unquote save AEW. I hope they haven't lost the plot. That's all I'm after. I just hope they haven't lost the plot.
Well, what is the plot?
Harley Graham wins the world title.
They fucked that up.
Because she took off the mask during the match?
No, that was fine.
Oh, well, what do you mean then?
They promoted it as Thunder Rosa and Harley Cameron. That was the graphic.
Can't do that.
Even Harley redid the graphic and was like, I don't know who this Harley Cameron is. It's Harley Graham. It's like, what? Could you not just do it as Harley Graham? Commit to the bit on that one. No, I didn't care that they took the mask off. We knew it was Harley Cameron. Taking the mask off was the funny part. See, it's Harley Cameron. It's the fact that they didn't even commit to the bit of it's Harley Graham who's wrestling Thunder Rosa. It was just immediately, no, it's Harley Cameron who's wrestling Thunder Rosa. And that's how they promoted it.
Lucha Rampage.
Camille is dead.
Oh, well, she was at WrestleCade apparently.
Was she?
I guess. I mean, Sean said that he saw her, I think, this weekend. He's in the backstage report.
Transported to WrestleCade after being attacked at AEW Rampage.
Who attacked Camille? The fans?
Does it matter?
I don't know. Like I said, I'm hoping that they finish off this story, wrap it up, do something with it.
I think this was the wrap up. I don't think there is. I know you were thinking that, oh, this is going to be used as a vehicle to get the title
Oh,
on Camille.
in my defense, the only reason I'm still on this train is because I started it. It's because I started it and I pumped the coal in and I said, not the Adam coal. I pumped the coal in there and I said, let's go down this line. Let's see where it happens. This is probably what they want. And now I'm stuck running this train right through to the end. Even though the track isn't finished, I'll run it off the reg. I don't care. Let's just get through it.
You got to pivot. And
I can't. I'm not allowed to pivot.
You got to recognize that
we don't take the emergency highways here. We don't. We stick with it. We go all the way. Sickos don't pivot. Sorry, I gotta stop.
I hope they just don't explain it. It's just an open-ended whodunit. Camille's gone.
This is that Ricochet WWE finish again.
And we move on. Mercedes is asked about it, and she replies,
Are you stupid or are you done?
And then just walks off.
That sounds so bad.
No! The problem is they want to explain this stuff. They want to be like, oh, this has a purpose. This is a point. No. Sometimes if it's bad, you just move on.
Everyone's on the Renegade Twins. Everyone's ready for the Renegade Twins. Say a prayer for Camille.
Yeah, we've pitched this for Danhausen, Detective Danhausen. We've already made that idea.
Detective Donovan Danhausen on the case.
You should try to solve this mystery.
And he's got these Mortos because he thinks he's Scooby-Doo.
Why is Beast Mortos Scooby-Doo is a lawyer?
Because he wears a giant mask. He's the only animal.
They got all elite Scooby-Doo. Come on now. They don't need Beast Mortos.
That's awesome. It's Beast Mortos because he wears the damn head. And it's Beast Mortos just going roar.
Poor Beast Mortos. He can't get a group that he can be aligned with. He's losing in the C2, and now they think he's a dog. It's terrible.
He's the Bark Mortos.
All right, so we got, who's Danhausen? He's Shaggy.
Sure, why not? Zoinks!
All right, so Beast Mortos is Scooby-Doo. Who's Freddy? Who's playing Freddy in this scenario?
You see, in an alternate universe, it would have been Ethan Page.
Oh, I don't wish this upon him.
That's fair. Who should it be then?
No, I don't wish it on Ethan Page. I don't wish it on the person I'm about to name either.
Oh, no.
Let's get him on television at the very least.
Well, that's what we're after.
Get old Starks as Freddy.
He is a pretty boy, that Ricky Starks.
Yeah, you got to have a pretty boy. That's what I'm saying.
Will Ospreay is Fred. That's another one that's there.
No, they're doing something with Ospreay.
That's
I'm going to
true.
use people who they're not actually doing anything with.
All right, I'm listening to this. Yeah, then Ricky Starks.
Ricky Starks
and Danhausen kind of work on multiple levels.
Exactly. Exactly.
My God.
All right, who's Velma?
Oh, no. Who's Velma?
Where's old Blue Pants? Bring her back.
Pretty sure her name was
Leva Bates.
Bates.
Yeah, the librarian.
Yeah, the librarian. I was thinking of what her name was.
Bring her back.
That sounds awesome.
Oh, Harley is Daphne. Harley Cameron's
Daphne. Yeah.
Yeah, she's got to be part of this group, 100%.
Yeah, there's no reason why you wouldn't do that.
All right, I feel like we got a good squad here.
Jesus Christ.
Going around solving some mysteries.
Ruby. Oh, what are we doing? My God. Hey, by the way, going back to
wait a second.
What?
They steal Jack Perry's van. It's the new. They rebrand it instead of the scapegoat bus. It's the mystery machine now.
They would absolutely do that.
Yeah, they steal. Who cares about Jack Perry? He's done.
Oh,
they
man.
just steal it from him. It's just an abandoned van. You know, it was abandoned in that warehouse by Menard and Daniel Garcia.
Turns out they were on Danhausen's property.
Yeah.
He just walks by. He's like, "What's this doing here?"
That's how it all starts.
They left the keys in the bus.
That's how it all starts. Danhausen pulls up. He finds the scapegoat van. He's like, I'm gonna clean this thing up. and he cleans it, and it can't be the Mystery Machine because that's probably copyrighted. So what do we got? The detective,
The Mobilehausen.
just the machine,
The Mystery Mobilehausen.
Sure, we'll use Mystery Mobilehausen.
And they foil Moxie's plan. I would have gotten away with it if not for you pesky kids.
Let's see what's in this briefcase. They pull it out, and it's not the AEW title.
It's just the bright light from Pulp Fiction. Oh, the Mortos machine.
Mortos machine's good.
The Rampager Mobile. Oh God,
this is great booking, but this is way better than anything they're gonna do.
True.
Your dumb wrestling matches and your C2.
They unmask Moxley, and it's Shane McMahon.
No. They unmask Hologram, and it's Shane McMahon. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds awful. I'm all about it. Whoa, what are we doing? The best.
Way better than anything they're gonna do. Way better.
By the way, shout out to Canadian hip hop legend Choclair. He was at Survivor Series.
What?
Canadians know. Remember the song "Let's Ride" from 1999? He was there. I need everyone to know Choclair was at Survivor.
What?
He's a rapper from Canada. His name is Choclair. Buddy, I'm telling you, Canadians, they all know who he is. But his big hit was called "Let's Ride." Released
I'm
in
gonna
1999.
look this up. I feel like you're lying.
He was at the show. Has a damn WWE title as well. Posted it on his Instagram and on his Twitter probably too.
There's only one good Canadian rapper, and it's not.
And he ain't that great.
Are you kidding me?
Which one are you talking about? Snow
and for my da. I think it boom boom down.
All right, just making sure.
Snow, baby.
Oh God. Yeah, you did. Jason knows. I'm not lying.
Okay, what is this? Choclair Khan?
Choclair. CHOCLAIR.
Choclair. What's the song called?
Let's Ride.
Let's Ride.
Yeah.
This doesn't actually exist.
It does exist.
Shaquito. I'm getting no results for this thing. Spell it again.
CHO.
CHO.
CLAIR.
AIR. Okay. Choclair. Let's
Choclair.
Okay. All right. Let's listen to this.
He's a 49-year-old rapper. So just letting you know. He's 49 now. He wasn't 49 when he released the song in 99.
Says he's Jamaican descent.
That is correct. If you want to follow him, he's at Choclair on Twitter. And yeah, big up Vancouver watching Survivor Series.
This definitely sounds like a 90s song.
Yeah, it's from 99. The man is a legend. He'll probably be at Elimination Chamber. Maybe I'll see if he wants to come on the show and promote it with me in March.
Does this song start?
It's the 90s. No song starts on time.
Okay.
Yeah, you getting it? Yeah, he's listening. I got Jeremy Lambert listening to Choclair on the air. Let him know. It was not secretly Drake. Nobody likes Drake. Oh, Jeremy should hear about Swollen Members. I feel like he's heard about them. You can listen to that whole song, aren't you? Should I talk about TNA while you're doing that? For the audio listeners, he's bobbing his head. Thumbs up for the bob head. Toss a like on the video and you'll be happy to see that.
Oh, I've heard this chorus before.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you've definitely heard that.
I'm not going to listen to the whole song. It's not bad.
Yeah, this was
Definitely
his,
90s. Definitely 90s.
yeah, this was his breakout hit. But anyway, he was at Survivor Series. So shout out to him. Maybe he'll be at the next show.
Is J-Rock Canadian? I didn't know J-Rock was Canadian.
Wasn't J-Rock, what's his face? Jonathan. Oh my God, it's going to kill me. Jonavision. What was his name?
What?
Wasn't J-Rock was Jonathan? Oh my God, it's going to kill me. What's your stupid
Oh, I'm
name?
thinking of a different J-Rock, but I'm thinking of the good J-Rock.
No, I'm thinking Jonathan Torrens.
I don't know who that is. Yeah, J-Rock, the one that I'm thinking of he's from California.
Yeah, I'm thinking. Yeah, no. This is Jonathan Torrens, who was on Trailer Park Boys.
Who?
That's the J-Rock.
Jonathan Torrens.
Torrens, Torrens. He was a Canadian, like.
That's how you stream. That's how you download stuff illegally.
Yeah, without the T. Yeah, Jonathan Torrens. This Canadian deal is wow. Here we are. All right, I'm gonna give you a couple of minutes of TNA here. Just
why?
I think people need to hear. People need to hear this. JBL came back again. Why? Take a. This is what I did after JBL got involved in the main event of that match. It was garbage. Nick Nemeth and Eddie Edwards had a good match. JBL showed up, and even commentary now is getting upset about the fact that JBL keeps showing up, and then Nick Nemeth does nothing with it. Turn him heel. Turn Nick Nemeth heel and get to the end of the story. The rest of TNA in 2024 is making me not want to ever talk about TNA ever again in 2025. Just get to Genesis, end this shit. I'm so over it. Not good. JBL needs to stop showing up for every single title match and not have it explained, even in the follow-through. There has been no explanation as to why JBL is here, other than he's a part of Nick Nemeth's friendship or whatever the hell he's doing. It was awful. Awful. And I didn't book shit. I just told y'all exactly where it was going. Santana better win that title ASAP, expeditiously. Win it at Genesis, make it a big moment. That's it. By the way, Steve Macklin and Josh Alexander had a banger match. That's the match you need to go out of your way to watch.
Joel.
Masha and Jordan were fine.
Remember when they had the chance to put the title on Joe Hendry?
I don't think Joe Hendry was ever a plan for them. I don't think he was ever part of their plans. And I've talked about this 100 million times.
I know you have. I know. I'm not talking about their plans, because clearly their plans should be set on fire.
Well, they don't pivot, just like AEW don't pivot. So
I'm talking about the fact that they just missed the boat on stuff. They had a guy in Joe Hendry that people were behind, that people cared about, and they turned him into nothing within a month. People could, like, he's still got some buzz, but it ain't what it used to be. It ain't what it was when he was showing up to NXT television. They had their chance, and they missed the boat. And yeah, they don't pivot. That's been the story of TNA, and that's a kind of position of why they're in the position that they're in, because they don't capitalize on these top moments. They don't strike when they got a guy like Joe Hendry, when they could very easily strike on him. And maybe he has a short reign, but they didn't strike. And now he's doing turkey matches.
So the turkey match, this is something I had to push back on. This is, again, the proof that people aren't paying attention, and that's fine because I cover it and I get paid to cover it. He lost at Bound for Glory, and now he's got to start from the bottom. The bottom is the turkey match. It was just like how a lot of people were like, oh, John Skyler is clearly winning. And I sat there on the post over 2 weeks and said, no, it's Brian Myers. Myers loves to look like a silly idiot, and he's going to do that with a smile on his face. And also, you'll see him on the TV. You won't see Skyler. With Joe Hendry, he was going to get the win. He was going to get the pin because they're building him back up. For what, I don't know. They're clearly not giving him the title unless they give it to him at the end of 25 as he's on the way out of the company. And maybe they let him be the TNA champion when he crosses over to, let's say, NXT. That talent exchange has kind of gone by the wayside for now, but they clearly don't. Joe Hendry was really good at the memes and was really good at the songs and getting people virally invested. Match time wasn't really the top wrestler. It wasn't as entertaining. And that's what TNA wants to put their emphasis on.
Do they?
Yeah, it is, because Nick Nemeth, he, for all the shit people give him, he still performs in the ring. He's still a good storyteller in the ring. I don't love what they're doing with him long term with this stupid JBL.
The Nick Nemeth matches end with JBL coming out.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I don't like what they're doing with the stupid JBL shit.
Okay, but you can't tell me that they want to put emphasis on matches and then here's JBL at the end of every match.
The JBL stuff is absolutely dog shit. I fully agree with that. But they clearly think that whatever else Nemeth is doing is good enough to warrant the work rate of TNA main event style wrestling. It's not great.
I'm only podcasting drunk because TNA drove me to drink.
Yeah, well, that's how I feel on Thursdays. That's why we didn't do a post show on Friday, because Crest and I literally told you everything that was going to happen on that show, and it happened, including Brian Myers in the turkey suit. So and they're building Rosemary now for Masha at the next pay-per-view at the final resolution in December. So sure, that's what's going on, just so they can get to Laying Lee at Genesis, because they ain't doing Savannah Evans. She lost that triple threat. Anyway, I'm done. We'll talk about TNA on Thursday when it's actually TNA talk time. WWE Raw's tonight.
You don't want to talk about the guy who replaced Trey?
No, I really don't. You know what? All I can tell you is exactly what the Fightful Select report was. They threw a rock into a crowd and hit a wrestler at a wrestling convention. That's all that was. He ain't coming in. And if they decide that he's coming in, I'm out tomorrow. And I'm sure there are other people who actually work there who are pretty much done with it too. It was dumb. It was not unexpected. When I heard the music, I just said, sure. And he was largely ineffective. He was a part of the match. He was a body. They didn't do any shit. That's all it was. So there you go.
They can't get out of their own way.
That is a very fair assessment, and it's something that a lot of people have said, and I agree with it as well.
They could have just put the title on Joe Hendry.
I don't think
they could have put the title on Joe Hendry.
I don't think there was much to do after that. That's the problem.
But figure it out. You have a guy who's appearing on NXT television. You have a guy who is creating his own viral moments. Oh, I don't think there's much to do. Then that's incompetence if you can't figure that out. What are they doing instead? JBL is what they're doing, Joel.
Yeah, I know. It ain't much better. I think that may have been it for Josh Alexander. Do not quote me on that. That was definitely seemingly the blow off, Macklin and Alexander. Not sure how I feel about that. If that's Alexander's last match and he just kicked off a new faction that he's supposed to be in with Sinner and Saint, but that's a whole other can of worms. Again, go watch the No DQ match with Macklin and Alexander. That match ruled. I was scared as shit for Steve Macklin when he took a table bump from the top rope over the top rope of the ring down to the floor, and it looked like he smacked his head hard on a carpeted, like a conference room carpeted floor.
Yes.
I was freaked out, but allegedly he's fine. Allegedly he's okay. But yeah, where's he going? Where's Josh Alexander next? He says he wants to test free agency. I think he will end up in WWE, or at least in their system, or at least being talked to. I have absolutely no basis on that. It's just a feeling that I have. Jeremy and I sat here and talked about Josh giving, saying goodbye to the independents in 2025. There's only one company that says you can't work the indies if you're going to be signed to us. And even they're kind of getting lax about that, but who knows? I don't know where Josh goes for sure, but it feels like he's got a spot. But yeah, good. Go watch the match with Macklin and Alexander. And even the 2 out of 3 falls with Jordan and Masha was fine. It's clearly going to do Masha and Rosemary next. Hooray. Raw tonight?
Do you have any more TNA to talk about?
Nope. Thursday nights on the main channel, where everyone gets their hot TNA takes from myself and Crest the Star.
We're on the main channel today, Joel.
I know. That's why I'm doing it now.
Okay.
That's why I'm talking about it now.
All right.
Pete Dunne versus R-Truth tonight. It's going to be a banger of a match. It's going to be a butch of a banger.
It's like, it just feels like they're going to have like a fun little match, and that's going to be that. Like,
It's going to be a banger, man. If
I
Pete
don't
Dunne,
think they're going out there to have some classic. It's
could you
R-Truth.
imagine if they have a full-on work rate match? Pete
That
Dunne
would
and
rule,
R-Truth?
honestly.
I'd love it. I hope they just like bring up R-Truth, former NWA World Heavyweight Champion. Like, just go full bore on R-Truth in 2024 at the end of the year. And then Pete Dunne gets the win, breaking everyone. Women's Intercontinental Championship tournament kicks off. Shayna Baszler, Katana Chance, and Dakota Kai. I haven't seen the brackets yet. I just know the
I don't
match.
think they've had the brackets. So
They just announced the match through Adam
Yeah.
Pearce on Sunday.
yeah.
Who wins? Feels like Shayna Baszler should win, but
It feels
I
like
don't know.
Dakota's going to win.
does kind of feel like Dakota. They did run the promo for Dakota Kai. They've done the same thing with Lyra Valkyria. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe it is going to be Dakota Kai. Damage Control. That's Io Sky and Kairi Sane take on Liv and Raquel Rodriguez. Sure. I'm sure Liv's going to lose.
No, you can't have Liv lose. Like, Liv's probably got to pin Kairi, honestly. You got to have Liv win. She just lost at Survivor Series. You got to have her picked up a victory.
Make her a big old loser letting into that whole match. Just like Gunter. Big crisis of confidence. Can't win a match.
Rhea's going to come out and cost Liv or something.
Sure. God, I miss Asuka. I hope she comes back soon. CM Punk's going to kick off the show. I'm sure he's going to talk about all the crazy things that happened at WarGames.
Great to be alive here in Everett, Washington.
And everyone's going to be like, no one likes being alive in Everett, Washington.
Everett, Washington seems fine.
The arena's called the Angel of the Winds, Jeremy.
Yes, that sounds good, right?
Basically like you're waiting to drink the Kool-Aid. Anyway, CM Punk kicks off the show. But the big match.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
This Punk segment's pretty big. Like, are we going to get Seth interrupting it? We're going to get Paul Heyman coming out? I don't feel like we can just gloss over, CM Punk's going to kick off the show. There's a lot to do with CM Punk. Right.
It's going to be Jey Uso and Sami Zayn.
Which is possible. It's possible Jey Uso and Sami Zayn end up coming out of here, but there's stuff to do with CM Punk. The Seth stuff is very... because it was there, right? It was there going into last WrestleMania, and then Punk got hurt, and so they took it away, and then they pivoted to Drew and Punk because of the injury. Seth lost to Bronson the last time we saw him. We haven't seen him on TV since. He turned down, being part of the WarGames. Is he mad at Punk for being part of the WarGames? I don't think Seth truly cares, but is he like, you don't know what you've gotten yourself into with them?
I think Seth is upset and jealous at Punk because Punk maneuvered his way into it. He struck a deal to be in WarGames, and that upsets Seth because Seth could have done it, but he didn't, and then it just gets under his skin. That's where I think the story goes.
So do we think Seth interrupts Punk, or do we think just or Punk just cuts a promo? Does Punk go after Gunther? That was his target after Clash of the Castle, before Drew attacked him to set up Bad Blood.
I think that's more likely that he reiterates he wants Gunther. When he gets him, I don't know. It would be almost surprising if they decide right away to turn around and be like, my favor was the world title match. It shouldn't be. Again, going back to our conversation from the first hour, it should easily be, I deserve a title match because I've won the last two PLE main events I was in, I won. Won WarGames last night. Won the Hell in a Cell against Drew McIntyre. Let's call it like it is. I should be number one contender. Give me the match, and then that maybe turns into Balor and Priest and all that stuff getting involved. I don't think they need to do another Balor or another Priest and Gunther match. So I'm not going to say Balor and Priest should be a number one contendership match. No, I think your idea of just doing a triple threat and getting it over with is the way to go. But Punk could easily say, I want Gunther because that's what I said last time. And that brought out Drew McIntyre, which would be hilarious if he does it again and Drew McIntyre returns tonight.
I think we could see a big story beat with this, which would be Seth or Punk making a claim for the world title. Or it could be a smaller beat of WarGames is behind me. I did what I needed to do as a favor to Paul Heyman. I'll be on SmackDown on Friday to meet again with the Tribal Chief. I could easily see them setting that up.
Yeah. I was going to say Seth coming out and saying, I want Gunther. I mean, he just lost.
I don't think Seth doesn't need to do an I want Gunther. Seth just needs to confront Punk.
He just wants to confront Punk. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Punk could do I want Gunther. He has a claim to that. Seth is just, he's just there to be a hater on Punk, which fair, you know.
Punk and Seth should beat Balor and Big Head for the tag titles, do that whole thing, and then go have their own match. We're doing Stone Cold Steve Austin winning the tag titles with the Undertaker. We're doing that story again, bringing everything back around. What? Talk about your John 3. Say what?
I'm looking forward to this Punk promo. I'm looking forward to this. Like, Punk's compelling, man. Say what you will about the guy, but compelling television.
Yeah, he is, and he brings the boom, and he brings the numbers as well. Oh, Zeno Hour got the big MLW announcement.
Oh,
since we do talk about MLW a little bit, but yeah, the LA debut for Battle.
We'll be interviewing Los Angeles on Wednesday.
Well, no, this wasn't a select exclusive, so we won't. Does this mean the TNA is definitely going to New York? Is what that means to me. They're like, oh, they're running LA. We're not doing that. They're going to New York.
We're gonna have the entire just state of Los Angeles as I bump my mic.
The state of Los Angeles.
State of Los Angeles.
It ain't a good state, but it's enough.
Isn't their mayor like a lunatic or something?
They're all lunatics. It's California. Well, I love it.
Fair.
Gavin Newsom, the governor, is absolutely upset.
Yeah, that's the guy. The governor.
He's the governor of California. He's fantastic. Love him.
Is he fantastic?
I mean, yeah, in certain ways he is. If you want a good way to watch, just watch him through the eyes of Jimmy Kimmel.
We're gonna have Gavin Newsom on
Donald's brother. Gavin Newsom on this show. I would love it.
Hold on, what's Gavin Newsom's Twitter here?
I'm pretty sure it's just at Gavin Newsom.
Yeah.
GAVINNEWSOM.
Gavin Newsom. Is he on Twitter? Oh,
of course he is. He's an elected official.
All right, here we go.
He should have the great check mark too.
Okay. Hello, Gavin Newsom.
Governor Newsom.
Oh, do I need to say that?
I don't know.
Okay. No, I'll just say hello. Well, we're friends. We're friends.
We're all friends here. He doesn't have his DMs open, so I'm sorry. He can't do it like this.
Okay. Hello, Gavin Newsom. My name is Paul Heyman.
We should just invite Denise on the show because she's from LA. No, this is much funnier.
Would you like to be on a morning wrestling talk show to discuss MLW coming to LA in April, right? It's in April, right?
Yeah, it's April. Is it April or is it May? I'm pretty sure it's April.
Sure it's April. Yeah, April 5th. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, Gavin Newsom, would you like to be on a morning wrestling talk show to discuss MLW coming to LA in April? We would love to have you. Have a great day. Should we
attach the MLW tweets?
No. He's just gonna read this like, fuck is MLW? I've sent it. Everybody, please retweet it. Let it gain some traction. So.
Could you imagine if Gavin Newsom was like, I'm a huge wrestling fan?
That would rule, honestly. Are you kidding me?
Oh, hilarious.
That would rule. It's like Gavin Newsom. He's gonna be like, I grew up watching Hulk Hogan. Be like, oh shit.
Oh, damn it. No, he's a Democrat. It's fine. This would be very funny.
All right. We've officially invited Gavin Newsom on the show for Wednesday or Friday. You know, whenever
he's available. Yeah. Do 10 minutes. He can do it from the beach. It's fine.
Right. You know, I'm a GCW fan. I agree with Effie.
Could you imagine? He and Brett Lauderdale are like besties somehow. Like, wow, things are very weird in wrestling.
Nick Khan was his agent in another life.
Oh no, he got him elected. Nick Khan
Uh,
got him elected. Good Lord. Oh,
Don't say we don't reach out to the important people, everybody.
it's true. We do try. Oh God.
Gonna go terrible.
Absurd. The New Day, by the way, they have the 10th.
Man. All right. What's your prediction for this?
Maybe Big E comes out, reminds them it's okay, and then tells them to go after the tag titles. If this turns into a big, like, they beat JD and Balor for the tag titles at some point, sure, like that's okay, because honestly, I'd love to see the tag titles away from Big Head and Finn. But like, yeah. Ken is mentioning what you and I kind of talked about off the air, and I kind of think so too, that the Players Tribune article may be a red herring and Big E is actually cleared. And maybe that's the start of the coming together of New Day again. They're a trio again. If they're gonna turn heel, I would turn them both if Big E's not back. So like, you have 3 avenues. Big E comes back, everyone's a babyface again for now. Big E doesn't come back, but he wants them to go back for tag team gold as a team and beat JD, Big Head, and Finn, or one of them turns on the other and it's over. Which, like, I don't think they're gonna do, because they have been so steadfast in not wanting to break up. Like 10 years, everyone's either planned their breakup or talked about it, or they've talked about it and they've said no. And I don't think that's changing. I really think they want to stay a unit of some sorts, or at least connected to each other through the end of their careers. So I don't know if they're going to split. I think it's more likely that they either all turn heel or they all don't, or they all get back together and something happens, because they're brothers. They're brothers at the end of the day. Brothers fight. So I just think that'll come around at one point.
What if they turn on Big E?
I mentioned that. They kick him in the dick.
Yeah.
Yes, kick Big E in the dick. That's a huge heel turn move. But like, why are you kicking him in the dick? What did he do?
He hasn't been there the past almost 3 years now.
Like,
I mean, it technically it's not his fault. I mean, he didn't, it was an accident of what happened, but the way you spin it is he wasn't around. He could have shown up. He could have been part of the show. Maybe he doesn't wrestle, but that doesn't mean he couldn't have been there. He's doing pre-shows. He's doing NIL stuff. Why weren't you there for us? Why weren't you around?
You're around, but you're not around with us.
Right. Why weren't you supporting us?
They could bring that up tonight too. They really could.
Man, I might cry if that happens. Like,
I think that's the whole point.
Legitimately. If they turn on Big E, wrestling, I don't care about wrestling. Everyone knows that. I don't care. But there are certain wrestlers and moments that actually make me feel something, because I'm a human, allegedly. And I have a heart, allegedly. I have feelings and emotions. And if they turn on Big E, if they just turn, like, fine, whatever. If they're still together, like, okay. If Big E announces his return, that's obviously great. We love to see that. We love to see Big E back, healthy, ready to go. We love to see Big E, getting back in the ring. New Day still as a trio, bringing the positivity again, throwing the pain, whatever they might do. They always do a good job of evolving and staying current. So whatever their babyface run is, I have no doubt that they'll make it work. And again, if they're a heel group, but they're still together, cool. If they turn on Kofi, that's tough. If they turn on Woods, that's tough. Man, if they turn on Big E, though, that's really tough. That's really, really tough. Like, that's emotional. That's very, like, remember, it was a dumb call. This is a dumb call. But remember when Ambrose turned on Rollins after Roman made his announcement?
Oh yeah, that was bad timing for all.
That was terrible. But that was like you understood why you would do an emotional thing like that on that day after what had happened to open the show. Like, from a story, from a human perspective, it was shitty. From a story perspective, you got it. Wow, that was tough. This is going to be like 10 times, 20 times that. These dudes have been together for 10 years, man. We talked about it last week. We talked about it last week of just like their impact. Their impact in wrestling, in pop culture, as a group. It can't be understated. Can't be overstated. They transcend what we've seen on television. These dudes are like real life friends who look out for each other and have each other's backs. These are not just some wrestling group. It's like, oh yeah, they've just kind of been buddy for 10 years. Now this goes way beyond that. If there's a big time turn out of this, I don't know if I'm prepared for that. As someone who hates wrestling, I don't know if I'm prepared. And if it's, again, especially if it's on Big E, because Big E's always been like the uplifting one.
Yeah, the positive one.
Yeah.
I wrote a whole damn Players Tribune article about being that guy.
Right. That today also, like that, that was very...
This was very point, like it's planned. It's very planned to have dropped that Players Tribune article on the day of the 10th anniversary celebration. And like there's very clearly storyline driven reasons to do it. And I think someone like E would love that to be played, have this played up, something he wrote, something he was very, honest about, to have that all played together to the story. I think that would be great. I think it was done for a reason.
Here's the thing. And look, we won't know this for sure until years from now when documentaries are made. And I could be completely wrong on this. I could be completely wrong. I don't think a turn is pitched. I don't think Triple H, Michael Hayes, whoever the writer is, I don't think they go to them and say, we want to do this. What do you think? One, I think they can turn it down. And I think everyone would understand that. Two, I think if this is done, this is more their call. Again, could be completely wrong. Could be Triple H is like, you know what? New Day's run its course. That's it. We feel this is best for business. And if that's the case, I think they're wrong for that. I don't think this is something they should be pitching. If New Day wants to go to them and Kofi and Woods and Big E want to say, here's what we're thinking. This is what we want to do. We think this would be best for all parties involved. We think this is the way forward. And they agree. Triple H is like, okay, like if this is what you guys want to do, you guys want to turn on Big E. He's cleared. You want to turn heel on him. Okay, this is what we'll do. I don't think it should be pitched to them. I think they've earned the right through 10 years of hard work. And more than that, when you talk into their entire career, they've earned the right to, one, turn it down, and they've earned the right to call their own shot on this. If they say, we just want to go out there, Big E's not cleared, but Big E's going to come out and he's going to say, what the fuck are you guys doing? Get back on the same page. This isn't what we're about. And Big E's going to be basically the cheerleader who brings them back together, and maybe he's on television a little bit more, but he's not fully cleared. If that's what they say they want to do, cool. It's Triple H and whoever should just be like, all right, that's what you guys want to do? Cool. Whatever they pitch is what they should do. And again, we won't know the truth of this until years down the line, or if they bring back the New Day podcast, the only good podcast to exist in wrestling history. We may never know what the true story is behind this. But I hope, for the sake of them, for the sake of everything they've done, for the sake of their reputations, for the sake of everything they've accomplished, whatever is done tonight was their idea. And it was not forced upon them or even suggested to them by any type of creative mean. It was their call.
We'll see how it plays out tonight. I'm excited for Raw. It's going to be a very fun show coming out of WarGames. A lot of stories to pull on, and we march ahead to Saturday night's main event in a couple of weeks. So they got to dot their I's and cross their T's on that one. But that's Raw. What anything else you want to plug? Get out of here with?
I'm looking forward to Raw tonight. CM Punk segment's big. It could be. Hey, I'll see you on SmackDown. So it could be small, but Punk's there. He's compelling. This New Day stuff, I don't know if I'm prepared for it, Joe.
They're going to spend the whole night talking about it and the whole night preparing you for it.
It should close, right? We talked about this last week. It should
100%.
close.
Yes, this should be given what they've announced for tonight so far. Nothing else. Like even Punk coming out and cutting a promo, unless it's like a hot promo and it's a big star comes out and confronts him. Nothing else gives me feeling.
Right, but Punk's opening regardless. They've already announced
that's right. They said he kicks off Raw. So even if they set up a match, wouldn't do that last. I would have New Day 10-year. That should be the finish. That should be it. Whether that's a big cliffhanger or a big hug it out moment, something. This is the moment. This is 10 years of building to this moment. There's a lot of reasons to do it as the main event, and that should be. Yeah, it's gonna be either heart wrenching or heartwarming. There is no in between. We'll talk about it on Wednesday. We'll be back on Overbooked. That's our other channel, Fightful Overbooked. Go subscribe to that channel now over at FightfulOverbooked.com, or you can also just go YouTube, Fightful Overbooked. If you haven't already, you can leave a like on this video. And of course, you can subscribe to the channel here at Fightful. Subscribe to Fightful Select for $5 a month, the best $5 in the business. Jeremy, last chance, anything to plug?
Moana, the final boss. And here we go. This is how good. The final. God damn, that's good shit.
For New Day, hopefully, we're not pouring one out.
Moana Monday. For Jeremy Lambert, I am at Joel Pearl, JoelPearl. We're back Wednesday and Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, over on Overbooked. We'll see you in the next one. Cheers.